greatest story ever told.
Presented by the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Tonight we present The Figure at the Door, a drama based on a teaching from the greatest life ever lived. In the town of Gabara in Galilee, two men stand watch a safe distance away from a great house. Their eyes are fixed on the door of that house, and suddenly it is opened. A face peers out, and then the door is shut instantly. One of the two watching men says to the other,
"There, Malachi. You see?"
Yes, sir. It was Simeon's servant who opened the door and peered out.
Exactly. And did you notice how furtively it was done?
Yes, I noticed that.
Good. That was all I wanted. Someone else to watch and see and confirm my feeling about this thing. Now come. We shall go back to the marketplace.
Yes,
come along.
Sir, if I might ask, why did you take me from my work to have me stand there and watch Simeon's house with you?
Because I had to make sure. Now that I am sure, the whole thing is quite clear to me.
What thing?
You couldn't figure it out, could you? But I have.
What, sir?
It occurred to me almost 2 weeks ago. That's the day the caravan arrived from Egypt. Usually Simeon would be down there in the marketplace trying to buy the best of everything, bidding against me. But he wasn't. I marked that fact. Then I began watching and thinking. I haven't seen Simeon since then. Have you?
No, sir.
Well, then I asked myself, why? Why is he never seen anymore? You know as well as I that Simeon is the kind of man who likes to strut in public, who likes to appear in better garments than those I wear.
It's true he's vain. True, too, that he vies with you for public attention and favor.
Well, that makes the mystery all the more baffling. Why should such a man not appear in public for 2 whole weeks?
Perhaps he's ill, sir.
Then why should his illness be kept a secret? Unless my good friend Simeon has fallen victim to leprosy.
What?
Yes, Malachi, I'm sure of it. I'm sure Simeon is a victim of leprosy and is hiding in his own home, cared for by his own loyal servant, so no one else will discover it.
If it's true, it's too bad, sir. Too bad.
I don't know about that.
Sir, what do you mean?
Well, once and for all, it will settle the question of who is the leading citizen in this town. Once this is known, he'll be forced to leave here and wander the roads like all the other lepers. And then only one man will be spoken of as great here in Gabara. That will be me.
Sir, might I suggest...
Quiet, Malachi. Let me think. Now, we can do something about Simeon. We can tell the town authorities. They'd drag him out. They'd expel him from the town. Yes. I'll talk to them.
Please, sir, don't do it.
And why not?
In the first place, it might not be true. And in the second place, if it is true, then Simeon needs help, not expulsion from the town.
You would say that. Too soft. That's your trouble, Malachi.
At least promise me not to do it for several days.
Several days? Why? What difference would it make?
Sir, the thing I mention now may not seem connected with this, but it is. And I was going to speak to you about it today in any event, so now is a good time.
Good time for what?
Ethan, could you advance to me some of the money I shall earn in the next few weeks?
An advance of money? You, Malachi? I've never heard you ask for that before.
No, sir. I'm an old man. I live alone. My needs are simple, but this time I do need money.
Of course you shall have it, Malachi.
Oh, thank you, sir.
But wait. You've aroused my curiosity. Why do you need it?
Well, sir, the master will be coming here to Gabara again. It is the first time in a long time, and it would be the greatest moment of my life should he and his apostles deign to come to my house to have the evening meal, even spend the night. Truly nothing could ever happen to me that would be greater than that.
I see. Malachi, tell me, this master, he seems to be gaining in popularity all the time, doesn't he?
If you're trying to say, sir, that more people follow his way, yes, they do.
That's a thought. Very interesting thought.
Sir?
Nothing, Malachi. Nothing for you to worry about.
I shall have the money, though.
Yes, you shall have the money. Tomorrow. Remind me of it tomorrow, Malachi.
Sir. Ethan.
Huh? Oh, Malachi. Well, what is it this time? Something you've come across in the marketplace?
No, sir. Just that the day is almost over, and you've said nothing about what we talked of yesterday.
Oh, you mean the money?
Yes, sir. The way you've been wrapped in thought all day, I don't wonder you forgot. Is something troubling you, sir?
Malachi, do you believe in dreams?
Dreams? What do you mean? Do I believe?
Can a dream mean anything? Oh, I know there are stories in the scriptures about dreams, Pharaoh's dreams, others. But could a dream of great meaning happen to me? Could it?
Who knows where dreams come from?
But the meaning of a dream, how does one determine that?
I don't know.
It was the strangest kind of dream. I was in my home. It was night. I was alone. Then there came a knock on the door. I went to answer. I called out, "Enter."
And the door opened?
No, the door didn't open. But suddenly I could see through the door, as though it had become transparent. There stood a man there, in a long robe, covered with dust as though he'd traveled far. I could see him, but he couldn't see me. And I could see his face clearly. It was a kind face, with deep and gentle eyes. Then I saw him knock on the door again. Again I called out to him, "Enter." But he looked at the door and then began to walk away slowly, sorrowfully. What could such a dream mean?
I don't know, sir.
I've had dreams that come and are forgotten with the light of day. But this one, it troubled me, awoke me, had been with me all day. Well, it's no worry of yours. Now then, what were you asking?
The advance of money, Ethan.
Oh, yes. Tell me, Malachi, would you insist on having the master at your home?
Insist? Of course not. I could only invite him to share what I have. One doesn't insist, not with him.
I didn't mean that. I mean, suppose you didn't invite him.
Oh, but I must. I'm an old man. I may not be here the next time the master comes to Kabara. So that I must invite him this time, else it may never be.
If it was a matter of doing him honor, it could be arranged in another way.
How, sir?
Suppose that there were a great feast in my house, and the master and the apostles you spoke of were invited there. You would be there, too. You could honor him in that way.
You would invite the master to your house?
Why not? Think how it would enhance my standing in this town, now that he has come to be accepted by so many. You know, I'll even invite Simeon. Perhaps when he fails to appear, it will cause others to ask the same question I asked. Perhaps that's a way of bringing his condition to light without even saying a word to anyone.
Please, sir, you don't understand. One doesn't act in that fashion toward the master.
Malachi, I shall invite the master. I shall have a huge feast. Everyone will be there. You too.
No, sir.
Malachi.
I couldn't be there. I couldn't be witness to what you proposed to do.
I see. You realize, of course, that the advance of money you requested will not be forthcoming.
I realize that now.
However, I will not withdraw my invitation. You are still welcome to pay honor to the master at my house, at the great feast.
I understand, sir.
anything else you wish to have done about the feast? Ethan?
Oh, what is it, my dear?
I was talking about the feast, but it seems you have something else on your mind.
No, it's nothing.
Ethan, last night as you slept, did you dream?
What makes you ask that, Ruth?
You called out. Not once, but several times.
I called out?
Yes, dear. You kept calling, enter, come in, the door is open. Such things as that. First you spoke softly, then your calls became angry, and finally frantic.
I see.
If there's something troubling you, you could tell me.
Oh, it's only a dream. I've had it once before. It means nothing.
Surely if it meant nothing, it wouldn't have disturbed you so.
I tell you it means nothing. Now, the final plans for the feast. Of food there must be plenty. More than enough to satisfy everyone who will be here. And did you dispatch the servant to extend a special invitation to Simeon?
Yes, but I wondered. Ethan, why do you invite Simeon this time? Ordinarily, you don't like to have him here. I don't understand.
Because I invite him doesn't mean he'll be here. As a matter of fact, that might be just the reason I did invite him.
That's a very curious thing.
You see, it works even with you. Right now, this moment, you're wondering why Simeon won't be here, even though I invited him. Admit it, you are.
Yes? Now tell me what this is all about.
You'll find out in time, my dear, in time. Yes, it's perfect. And now about the seating arrangements for the feast. Simeon shall have a place of honor close by the master. After all, the more people's eyes dwell on the empty seat, the more their minds will question why Simeon isn't here. So remember, Simeon's place shall be one on the side of the master, and I will sit on the other. Who could that? Oh, wait, I know. I dispatched a boy to the town gate to wait till the master and his friends arrived. Must be the boy. Come in. Well, Reuben, did you see him? Did you... Who is this man with you, Reuben?
Sir, he is one of the master's closest friends. I asked him to come with me to hear the invitation from you yourself. His name, sir, is Peter.
Peter, eh? Welcome to my house. Ethan is my name.
God be with you, Ethan. Now, what was it this very excited lad tried to tell me? He was so excited I could almost see his heart pounding in his chest.
It's good you came. You can see for yourself that this is one of the finest homes in Gabara. Perhaps then my invitation will mean more to you. I should like to invite your master and all his apostles to feast with me here this evening, and to spend the night.
It's very kind of you to invite us, sir. Wandering the country as we do, we have a high regard for warm and friendly hospitality.
Ethan's house is open to all who need shelter.
Thank you. Now I must go.
But wait. I must have an answer from you.
I shall take your invitation to the master. Have no fear of that.
Then he will be here.
I can only take your message to him. He shall decide.
I see.
Now, may I leave?
Of course. Strange man. I don't know if I like him.
But why? He seemed a kind man with a good, strong, honest face.
Oh, it wasn't his face. It was his bearing, his attitude. I don't know.
You expected that he'd bow and scrape and show you great respect for having invited the master here. Is that it?
Now, Ruth, don't judge me. Just do as I say. Preparations will go forward.
Even though you've had no answer yet?
The master will be here. They'll all be here. Where else in this town could they be so well fed? The feast will be held, and they will be here. Yes, David, you and your wife must enjoy this evening. That's why I invited you here. It must be an evening to remember.
Of course, Ethan.
That's right. Mingle with all the guests till the guest of honor arrives. I'll see you later. Ruth,
Yes, dear.
have you been to the front door again?
Yes, Ethan.
No sign of the master? No sign of any of his followers?
No, Ethan.
Not even that one, Peter?
None of them.
Can't understand it. It's late. Even past the hour when I'd expected that the feast would begin. I can tell from looking at their faces that even the guests are beginning to sense there's something wrong.
Perhaps he isn't coming, Ethan.
He'll be here. He must. Maybe there's something wrong with the door.
What are you saying, Ethan?
I must go and see.
Go and see.
Come with
Ethan,
me to the door. You may think me mad, but it could happen.
What could happen?
Come and see.
Yes, dear. Ethan, I'm looking at the door. What's wrong with it?
I must open it to show you. Here.
Well, Ethan, what's wrong? How different is the door now than it's ever been before?
I don't know.
Ethan, what is it? You're pale and fearful?
I don't know if I ought to tell you.
If you can tell anyone, it should be me.
Yes. Yes, dear. Last night, the same dream again. The man knocking. I bidding him to enter, and he didn't. Again, I could see him through the door as though it were transparent. And I could see him disappear. Yet last night, the dream was different. After he had gone, I went to the door. I opened it. And I found that the latch on the outside of our door was gone. Not there at all.
Gone?
Yes. It was as though there never had been a latch on the door.
What a strange thing to dream.
That's why. Well, I thought... Oh, it can't have anything to do with it. The latch is there. The other guests found it. It's foolish, very foolish. Except...
Yes, dear?
In the dream, after I discovered the latch was missing from the outside of the door, I ran out. I followed the figure down the street. I called to him. I asked him to return. And he turned to me and said something and walked on.
What did he say?
What's the trouble? I can't remember. I just can't remember. We might as well go back into the main hall and wait with our guests.
But if the master doesn't arrive...
He must arrive. We'll wait.
Ethan, the way everyone looks and whispers. It's long past mealtime. They know there's something wrong.
Yes.
The master won't be here. You must admit that now.
Yes, I'm afraid so. It would have been so perfect. The master here and Simeon not here. Had it happened, then even Malachi would have appreciated what I wanted to do. As a matter... Wait. Malachi.
What of Malachi?
He isn't here, is he?
No. But then would you invite a mere clerk to such a feast?
I did invite him this time, and he isn't here. Nor is the master here. Wait. This thing is beginning to make sense to me at last. Ruth, I'm going out.
Leave a house full of guests, a great feast waiting to be served? How can you?
I'm going out. I think I know where this master is. And if he is there, then Malachi will pay for this little bit of treachery. Yes, he'll pay.
Please, Ethan, just because your pride is hurt, don't do anything to Malachi. He was your father's clerk and friend even before you were born.
That doesn't give him the privilege of making a fool of me. I'm going to find out if my suspicions are true. And if they are, Malachi will suffer for this.
Yes, friend, who... Ethan.
Yes, Malachi. It's me.
Why, Ethan, what are you doing here?
Don't pretend you don't know. Let me in.
Oh, no, Ethan, I'm afraid I can't do that. The master is here and he teaches. I shouldn't want a man as angry as you are to burst in at such a moment.
Then he is here, just as I thought. Despite the fact that you knew I wanted him to feast at my house, you invited him here.
That's the strange part, Ethan. I didn't invite him.
You didn't invite him, yet he's here? How do you explain that?
He came to me. He asked to eat here, to spend the night here.
And I suppose you spread a lavish feast for him, quite by chance, too.
Feast? We had only bread and some milk. But the master seemed quite satisfied with such a little.
He came here of his own choice to eat bread and milk, when he knew I had a great feast prepared for him. I don't believe it.
I give you my word.
Malachi, I think you lie.
Ethan, please.
And not only do I think so, but I shall accuse you to your own friend, the master. I shall tell him what kind of treacherous man you are.
Ethan, you're making a great mistake.
Stand aside, Malachi.
Ethan, no. Don't go in there. Don't do it, please. Ethan!
Master! Master, I must talk to you.
Sir, please. Master's in the midst of teaching.
You, Peter, I recognize you, even if you don't remember me. I'm the man who invited the master to a feast at my house.
I remember.
But he wasn't there.
He chose this place, sir.
So I understand. And I want to know why.
The master is not called upon to explain his actions to anyone, save to a power greater than any on this earth.
Perhaps you don't think so, but I do. Master, I don't know which one you are. I've never seen you before. But they say you prize very highly truth and virtue, and honesty and faith.
Yet you have chosen to come here to the house of a man who is dishonest, in preference to coming to my house.
Ethan, you shouldn't have said that.
You lied to me only a moment ago, standing there at the door.
But I didn't lie. I said the master asked to come here, and he did.
That's right, he did. I know that, Ethan.
I don't believe it. Not unless I hear it from the master. Which one is he that I may ask him for myself?
There, Ethan. There is the master.
Well, then, master, No.
Ethan, what is it?
No, it can't be. It can't be.
Ethan, you look faint. You tremble. So what is it?
You wouldn't believe me. No one would.
What is it, man?
No, Peter. No, Malachi, it can't be.
Please, Ethan, what is it?
No, let go of me. Let me out of here. Let me go.
Ethan, wait! Ethan, wait. Please. That's right. Wait for me.
Well, Malachi, what do you want of me?
Oh, Ethan, I'm glad you waited. I couldn't let you go feeling as you did.
Well, I'm convinced the master chose to come to your house without invitation. I know that now.
Is that what made you turn pale and tremble? Made you run from my house like a guilty man?
Was it so obvious?
Yes, Ethan. Now, tell me. Why?
Those dreams I had. The figure at the door. The figure that knocked and wouldn't enter when I invited him. That figure was the master. I knew it when I saw his face this evening.
Oh.
And as I looked upon the master's face, the words spoken to me in the dream all came back suddenly. I heard them as clearly as I heard them in my dream.
Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him and will eat with him, and he with me.
That's what I heard in my dream. And he was the figure.
I see.
Malachi, there was more. In the dream, there was no handle on the outside of my door. Why? Can you tell me, Malachi?
I'm beginning to understand. In the dream, it was a door. But in your own self, it is your heart. Just as in the dream, the door could only be opened from within because there was no latch on the outside. So your heart cannot admit the master unless you open it to him from within yourself. The latch to a man's heart is within him.
Yes. Now I know what the dream meant to tell me. I'm just not worthy. Not worthy at all. Good night, Malachi.
No,
Why?
wait.
You yourself said it's something which must come from within a man. And I failed that way.
No man has failed till he gives up. You're not lost.
What can I do? How can I open my heart to the master?
By goodwill toward the master and toward others. By overcoming hatred. By forgiving. By living a good life in keeping with his word.
I see. I only threw wide the doors of my great house to him. I tried to tempt him with lavish foods. But he chose to eat bread and milk in your house, where there is kindness and goodwill and a benevolent spirit. He chose well, Malachi. I'm not worthy. I only meant to enhance my prestige by the master's presence. I meant, too, to do harm to Simeon. And in spite of that, you say I'm not lost?
No, Ethan. There's still time and still a chance to change.
You really think so?
Yes.
How? Some act, some good deed, some... Wait. I know.
Yes, Ethan. Has something occurred to you?
If I could bring myself to do it.
You mean Simeon?
Yes. You said yourself it's help that he needs, not expulsion from the town. Well, I could bring him to your house, to the master. He'd find help there.
That's right, Ethan.
But you know how I've always hated Simeon.
Then, isn't this the best time to open your soul from within to Simeon and to the master as well? Isn't it, Ethan?
Yes, Malachi. Yes. Though it'd be difficult for me to do it, I will. I shall go to Simeon's house now and bring him back. The master shall cure him, and me too. You see, the door to my heart is beginning to open already. Yes, with his words.
Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him.
You have been listening to The Figure at the Door, another episode in the greatest story ever told, from the greatest life ever lived. The Greatest Story Ever Told was a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
And once again, it's Fibber, McGee, and Molly time. Fibber, McGee, and Molly. The dramatic story of a woman with her faith in a man.
Oh, sure.
And a man with his faith in a newspaper. Will something exciting, unusual, or momentous take place in the little frame house at 79 Wistful Vista tonight? Or is that expecting too much? Yes, I guess it's expecting too much. Anyway, here they are, Fibber, McGee, and Molly.
Anything interesting in the paper, dearie?
Well, here's an interesting article on crop surpluses, Molly.
You don't say.
Yeah. Now, take corn, for instance.
Certainly, we can take it and we can dish it out.
Hey, I'm serious. This writer says that if conditions keep up, the small farmer will be completely annihilated.
Oh.
Hey, what's annihilated?
Annihilated. Why, that means, when a farmer Well, now, for instance...
Where's the dictionary?
It's probably in the closet with the rest of your stuff. Give me your key and I'll get it for you.
Oh, no, you don't. You lay off the stuff in that closet. I got all my stuff arranged in there just the way I want it.
Now, don't be silly. Give me the key.
Okay. Now, let's see. Which one of these is it belongs to?
Heavenly day. Why do you carry all those keys? Does it make you feel important or something?
What do you mean, important? Every one of them keys is necessary.
What's that little key there for?
Well, that's a padlock key.
What padlock?
Oh, for the backyard gate we used to have in Peoria.
What are you keeping that for? Are you homesick?
No, but if we ever moved back to Peoria, I'd try to rent the same house because this key fits the padlock there. You got to think ahead in these things. And you see this key here?
Looks like the key to a can of salmon.
No, sardines. I use that to clean my pipe with.
Oh, I see.
Now, let's see. Which one of these keys is the closet door keys?
Hey, maybe we better see if the closet is locked. Let me take a look.
Oh, it's locked all right. You don't think I'd leave all my personal defects laying around for any prowler to get his hands on?
McGee, it isn't locked. Better see you have it. The stuff's all falling out. McGee, I'm buried alive. Get this junk off of me.
All right, but Dad Rabbit, you might have been more careful with...
Help! There's funny little insects all over me. Brush them off, quick.
Oh, calm yourself. Them are my trout flies. Doggone it, Molly, why did you have to go and mess up?
Oh, dear, come in.
Fibber, McGee, and Molly?
Yes.
Tell me, with all these radio shows being changed, is it true that you're going to cut your program down to a half hour?
What do you mean, cut it down? It's only a half hour now.
What? Boy, it sure seems like an hour.
Well, as the guy says when he fell off of the horse and heard something bust, that sounded to me like a rib.
Well, never mind that now. Oh, dear, look at all this junk that fell out of that closet.
Don't worry, I'll put it back, Molly.
No, you won't.
Huh?
We're going to go through that pile of whatnots and throw everything out we don't need.
Oh, yeah? Well, I've been through this stuff 100 times, and there ain't a thing of it that I can spare.
Oh, there isn't?
No.
What's this old rusty horseshoe for?
Well, I found that in 1911. As soon as I find 3 more, we can pitch horseshoes in the backyard.
I see. You expect to find 3 more,
You
huh?
betcha.
You don't think the automobile is here to stay, eh?
Won't be if we don't catch up with the payments.
Hi, mister.
Oh, hello there, little girl. What you want?
You remember that job you promised me to take care of your baby, only you didn't have one, so I was going to bring my little brother over and take care of him, remember? Do you?
Yes, sure, I remember,
Well, the deal is off, see?
What you mean the deal is off? In the first place, there wasn't any deal, and in the second...
My mommy had to take my little brother to the doctor today, so I can't bring him over.
Oh, that's too bad. What's the matter with your little brother? Anything serious?
My mama thinks so.
Oh. She thinks so, huh?
She thinks so. I had to clear my throat there. She thinks he swallowed a dime.
Swallowed a dime? Well, say, that is serious.
Oh, no, it isn't.
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, no, it isn't.
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, he didn't swallow a dime, I bet you.
Huh?
It was only 8 cents.
Only 8 cents. How do you know?
Well, we were playing slot machine, and I fed him to him. What you doing, mister?
Well, we're cleaning out this closet, if you must know.
I mustn't.
Mustn't what?
No.
No?
Yes.
What?
Oh.
Listen, sis, suppose you go on home and annoy somebody else. Go bother your daddy.
He isn't home. He's working on the senseless.
On the what?
The senseless. He goes to people's doors and asks them how many people in the family and how old are you and all stuff like that there, I bet you.
Oh, you mean the census?
Hmm?
Shucks, I didn't even think a kid your age knew what a census was.
Well, I do, I bet you.
Yeah?
Census is information, please, on the Red, White, and Blue Network. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
While we're waiting for Fibber and Molly to return, I'd like your attention for just a minute. If you have valuable jewels, you protect them by keeping them in your safe or in a secret compartment. Valuable papers you keep in a strong box or vault. How can you protect your valuable furniture, floors, and woodwork? By locking them under a safe protective shield of genuine Johnson's wax. That may seem like a strong statement, but it's really true. When you apply a coat of Johnson's wax, you are completely covering the surface with an invisible yet very tough shield of real wax. This wax guards the floors and furniture surfaces against wear and against dirt and moisture. From time to time, you renew the coating of Johnson's wax, and your floors and furniture are given permanent protection. What is equally important, they have that rich, wax-polished glow that good housekeepers cherish. If your home is not wax-protected and wax-beautified, order genuine Johnson's Wax, paste or liquid, tomorrow.
Heavenly days, McGee. Imagine all this stuff falling out of one little closet. How'd you ever get it all in there?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I just inherited a gift for packing. My great-aunt Minnie had a job stuffing pimentos into olives. Oh, hey, look at this, Molly. The tabaret I made in manual training. Yeah?
Didn't you ever finish anything? It's only got 3 legs.
They wouldn't let me stay in the 5th grade another year.
Ah, McGee, look. One of our old dance programs before we were married. I didn't know you were so sentimental, dearie.
Is that a dance program? I was saving it on account of that little pencil hanging onto it. You never know when you'll need a pencil.
Listen to this. Waltz, waltz, turkey trot, waltz, bunny hug, waltz, Texas Tommy, waltz.
What, no schottish?
Grizzly bear, waltz.
There.
You had every dance with me but the last waltz. McGee, who did you dance that one with?
Why, nobody. We sat that one out. In the buggy, remember?
Oh, yes. And we couldn't go back to the dance because you sat on a box of Lowney's chocolate-covered cherries in the spoiled white pants.
That was the night they took the... Come in.
Oh, hello, Johnny. Hello, daughter. Say, I'm looking for a nice room in the neighborhood. Got one to rent?
No, I don't believe so, Mr. Oldtimer.
Oh, come on, kids. I'll pay $3 a week with meals, or $2 a week and eat out, or $2.50 if you let me see the funny paper first on Sundays.
Nothing doing, old-timer. We ain't taking boarders.
Eh? Absolutely not.
The last boarder we had was a tap dancer. Kept me awake all morning. I finally got tired of it and knocked him cold with one of his steel-plated shoes and stuffed it into his own trunk.
Incidentally, McGee, where did you ship that trunk?
Off to Buffalo.
Wow! That's pretty good, Johnny. But that ain't the way I heard it. The way I heard it, one feller says, t'other feller, say, says, see where Scarlett O'Hara got the Academy Award. Yep, says t'other feller. She lost out with Rhett, but she sure got her Oscar. Well, I'm sorry you ain't got a room for me. Slept in the park all last summer and didn't like it. The roof leaked. So long, kid.
I'm getting a little tired of all them Gone with the Wind gags.
Yeah.
I don't know how a picture about the bluegrass country could produce so many bum plugs.
Well, never mind that, McGee. Isn't there any of this junk we can throw away now?
Well, now, let me see, Molly. How about this old photograph album here?
I should say not. That's got all our family pictures in it.
Oh, dear.
Who's this funny-looking man with the walrus mustache, McGee?
Oh, that's my great-uncle Roscoe. We were pretty proud of Uncle Roscoe. He was the first white child in the county to be blackballed by the Elks.
Here's one of me Aunt Ad and Aunt Carrie. They both had big families.
Yeah, how many kids do they have, anyway?
10 between them. Add 6 and Carrie 4. McGee, now, what are you going...
Well, hello there, folks. I was just going by and I thought Well, what goes on here? Have you been buying out an antique store?
Hi, Harlow.
This is just a lot of stuff McGee's been hoarding in the closet, Mr. Wilcox.
Isn't it wonderful how much you can pack into so little space?
Uh-oh.
For instance, you only give me about 6 lines to tell how Johnson's Glow Coat saves hours of house cleaning because it beautifies and protects linoleum with absolutely no rubbing or buffing.
Wonderful.
But in those 6 lines, I think I can get the idea across pretty well that a self-polishing preparation like Glow Coat is the very essence of good housekeeping.
Boy.
It's so easy to use that it's easy to tell about.
Ain't he marvelous, folks? That guy has dedicated his whole life to Johnson's Glow Coat.
What do you mean, Fibber?
Harlow, they tell me that way back when you were in college, they wanted you to stroke the crew. And you said no. No stroking, no rubbing, and no buffing. Even for dear old University of Southeastern Nebraska.
Is that true, Mr. Wilcox?
No, I wasn't a crew man. I went out for ROTC.
Oh, Reserve Officers Training Corps?
No, revolutionizing old-time cleaning. Well, so long, folks.
Got you there, McGee.
Yeah. As the golf ball says, when it landed 5 feet from the tee, I think I've been topped. Well, let's get busy, Molly, and put this stuff back in the closet.
You mean you're going to keep all this junk? Can't we throw any of it out?
No, sir. I got a use for every one of these things.
Now, you don't need this, do you?
Huh?
What good is one snowshoe?
Why, one what?
Snowshoe.
Is that a snowshoe? Well, shucks, no wonder Billy Mills beat me so bad playing tennis.
Now what? Come in.
Hi, sis. Can we... Oh, hey, Molly. Look. It's Gracie Allen.
Well, hello, Gracie. Won't you come in?
Oh, no, thank you, Molly. And I wouldn't have dropped in if I'd known you were entertaining.
Oh, we ain't entertaining.
Oh, you are, too. I think you're very entertaining.
Oh.
Now, you say something nice about Georgie and me.
Oh. T.L.
Yeah.
Well, I heard, Gracie, that the difference between our shows is that yours is always in the middle of the week and ours is always week in the middle.
Oh.
Gracie, what's this I hear about you running for president of the United States?
Oh, there's nothing to it.
Oh, you mean you're not running for president, huh?
Oh, I mean I'll be elected. There's nothing to it.
Oh, yeah? Well, I ain't one to indulge in no idle gossip, Gracie. But I've heard whispers about Dewey and Hull and Garner and Taft being in the White House next year. But I suppose they're just rumors.
They are not. I'll be running in the White House, and I'm not going to take in any rumors.
What's your party, Gracie?
Oh, well, it's my own party, the surprise party.
Oh, what an adorable name, dear.
Oh, I'm so glad you like it.
Well, you can count on our votes, Gracie. I always said there should be a woman in the White House.
How about Mrs. Roosevelt?
She's never in the White House.
Molly, do you play bridge?
No, I don't.
Oh, that's too bad. I'm forming my cabinet, and I need 7 more bridge players.
How big a cabinet you going to have?
Just 2 tables.
You need a good pool player?
Well, no, I'm having the pool table taken out. The 8-ball gets in front of too many people.
By the way, Gracie, when do you expect to move into the White House?
January 1st.
January 1st? Mm-hmm. You ain't going to be inaugurated on New Year's Eve, are you?
Well, I may not be inaugurated, but I'll be feeling pretty good. Well, I guess I'll be running along now.
Well, I'm glad you dropped in, Gracie. You think you can handle your campaign all right?
Oh, yes, I can handle my campaign, though the bubbles always tickle my nose a little bit. Well, thank you both, and don't forget my slogan, Face the White House with Gracie. Good night.
I've about exhausted my impatience with you.
Why?
Packing all this useless junk back in that closet. How about these old books?
What old book? Let's see. Oh, them. Well, that's my correspondence course in taxidermy.
Taxidermy. Why on earth did you want to study taxidermy?
Well, how did I know it meant stuffing birds and animals? And there I was, stuck with a chauffeur's license, a city map, and a pair of puttees.
Well, hurry up and put your playthings back in the closet.
Okay.
Looks terrible laying around here on the floor with that...
I'll get it. Hello? No, this is the McGee residence. You got the wrong number. Oh, is that you, Mert?
Egad, every week the same thing. Apologies to Skinny Ennis.
How's every little thing, Mert? What's that? Your Uncle Gulliver. Oh, that's too bad, Mert.
Oh, no.
And they ain't found the body yet, huh?
Oh, heavenly days, McGee. What happened?
Mert's uncle drove his car off a cliff and had to walk home. They found the chassis up in a tree, but they don't know where the body is. What say, Mert? Oh, that's okay, Mert. Everybody has the wrong number now and then, except Irving Berlin. Well, now, let's see.
McGee, why are you saving this long stick of bamboo?
Why, Molly, that's got a very definite purpose. If I was offered a job as sparring partner for Joe Louis, that's the 10-foot pole I wouldn't touch it with. See, I got it right.
Oh, for goodness sake. Come in. Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Uppington? So nice to see you.
How do you do, Mrs. McGee? And Mr. McGee?
Hi, Uppy.
Good heavens, what a... Oh, my, it looks as if there'd been an explosion in here.
No, just some things that fell out of the closet, Mrs. Uppington. McGee had everything in there but the kitchen sink.
Oh, really? Everything but the kitchen sink? Oh, my, isn't that amusing? Oh, but what I came in for, Mrs. McGee, was to tell you about the symphony concert I've been planning with Maestro Mills.
Oh, yes, the symphony concert. Well, it's about time something was happening about that, Mrs. Uppington.
I've been waiting so long for that concert, Uppy, I'm even getting suspicious of Billy Mills. I'm afraid he's a non-conductor.
Ah, well, we must be patient, you know. There's been so many difficulties. For one thing, we're having trouble with the facilities at the Eagles Hall.
Oh, what's wrong, Mrs. Uppington?
Oh, it's the Eagles, my dear.
The Eagles?
Yes, they're all roosting up in the rafters, and during rehearsals, they drop eggs on the orchestra.
You ought to call them down and give them seats in the first row, Uppy. Them birds are critics.
Yes, indeed, they certainly... Oh, now, please, Miss McGee. It's discouraging enough as it is.
I hear they had a kind of an accident during rehearsal the other night,
Oh,
Uppy.
yes, and it was so embarrassing.
So?
Yes, the musician playing the electric guitar reached for a high note and blew every fuse in the building. Oh, my, but those dear boys went right on playing, just as if nothing had happened.
Oh, really, Mrs. Uppington? But how could they read their music in the dark?
Oh, my dear, that's exactly what I asked Dr. Mills. And he said in his most delightful manner,
Oh, yes.
Don't worry about it, babe. Those mugs can't even read music with the lights on. Oh, really? I thought that was just too gay. Or am I being a silly girl?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I must be going. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Abigail.
Isn't she ridiculous, McGee? All the time she's back in that symphony orchestra, she's dreaming about Billy Mills.
Well, that's always been a pretty romantic spot, down by the old Mills Dream. Don't you get it, Molly? I said down by the...
Ain't funny, McGee.
Oh, well. It was spontaneous. Where was I?
Say, do you really think you can get all this stuff back in that closet?
Why, sure I can, and I don't want anybody touching these things either, but me. They're too valuable.
Oh.
I'd have had it done an hour ago if I hadn't been interfered with.
All right, you do it then. I've got some work to do in the kitchen.
All right, I'll get it. Dad, drat it. I wish somebody'd crawl in through the window just for the novelty of it. Come in.
Oh, there, McGee.
Oh, it's you.
Yeah, just thought I'd come by and tell you that... Well, my goodness, what's all this?
Oh, just something out of my closet. I'm straightening it up. Hey, Gildersleeve, put that hatchet down.
I'll do no such thing. That's my Boy Scout hatchet you borrowed last summer.
Dad, drat it ain't nothing of the kind. That's my Boy Scout hatchet. Look at the insignia on the handle there. Owl Patrol.
Well, I belong to the Owl Patrol myself.
Oh, yeah? You in the Owl Patrol. Why, you don't even know the password of the Owl Patrol.
Who?
Well, somebody must have told you. Listen here, Gildersleeve. I'll bet you don't know a thing about scouting.
I do, too. I was an Eagle Scout with 26 merit badges.
Go on. Can you tie a sheep shank? Can you imitate the mating cry of the chimney swallow? Can you tell which way is north when you're lost in the woods?
Certainly.
How?
I face south and then turn around quick.
Look, Gildersleeve, if you're really a scout, you can do your daily good turn by scramming out of here and letting me finish putting this stuff back in the closet.
Well, all right, McGee. You're sure that isn't my hatchet?
On my word of honor as a member of the Owl Patrol, Gildersleeve.
Well, all right, McGee. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Say.
Huh?
Give me the password again, will you?
Who? Oh, Boy Scout, that guy couldn't build a fire in a haymow by rubbing 2 sticks of dynamite together. Oh, well, I gotta get the rest of that. Looks like about all of it. Yep. It's all packed back in there. Boy, what a job. Hey, Molly! Molly!
What is it, McGee?
Look, I got all that stuff back in the closet, all straightened out.
Splendid, McGee, splendid.
And after this, when you want something out of there, let me get it for you.
All right.
Yeah.
But now that you got the dictionary out of there, why don't you leave it out? We may need it again.
Oh,
What's the matter?
I forgot to leave it out. I packed the dictionary back in there.
Oh, heavenly days.
Now, hey, now you stay away from there. I know exactly where I put it.
Well,
I can get it out without the person. Molly?
Yes?
I found the dictionary. How do you spell annihilated?
Fibber and Molly will be back in just a moment. In the meantime, I'd like to read you a brief letter received recently from a gentleman in New York State. For the past 15 years, he writes, I have installed many linoleum floors, as I am a linoleum layer. Most every time upon completion of an installation, I am asked this question: how can I preserve or improve the finish? Well, since Glow Coat has been on the market, I have used it with perfect satisfaction, so I always answer, use Johnson's Glow Coat and no other. Well, now, coming from a man who knows his linoleum, that is a pretty sound recommendation. Glow Coat does preserve and improve linoleum, whether it's new or old. It makes linoleum last longer, makes it easy to keep clean, brings out the colors. And remember, there's no rubbing or buffing with Glow Coat, because it's self-polishing. You simply apply and let dry. In 20 minutes, your floor is sparkling with new beauty. Try Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat on your floor. Order a can tomorrow.
Now, look, McGee, that junk of yours is positively not going back into that closet.
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, no, it isn't.
Oh, yeah. Hey, wait a minute. Wrong routine.
Well, all right, then. But if it does go back in there, I'll arrange it myself. Now, you keep your hands off it this time.
You going to do it all by yourself?
I am.
Fine. As the fat lady says when she took off her corset, that lets me out.
McGee.
Good night.
Good night, all.
This is Harlow Wilcox speaking for the makers of Johnson's Wax and Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat, inviting you to be with us again next Tuesday night. Good night.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Lux presents Hollywood. The Lux Radio Theater brings you Rosalind Russell, Laurence Olivier, and Gail Patrick in My Favorite Wife. Ladies and gentlemen, your producer, Mr. Cecil B. DeMille. Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we bring you a modern comedy based on an old-fashioned idea. The notion that woman's place is in the home. Of course, only a brave man would argue that point with a woman nowadays. But tonight, two women argue it with each other. In the play My Favorite Wife, Rosalind Russell and Gail Patrick both want the woman's place in Laurence Olivier's home. And all he can do about it is let the best woman win. Miss Russell, who's here from Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, plays a feminine Enoch Arden. Like the sailor in Tennyson's poem, she returns after being shipwrecked on an island to find that her lawful wedded mate believes her dead and has married again. You remember that Enoch Arden was a self-sacrificing soul. When he found another man in his place, he went quietly on his way. But when Ellen Arden, our shipwrecked lady tonight, finds another woman in her place, she puts up a whale of a fight. Perhaps that's the woman's angle. Or maybe it's just because Leo McCarey, instead of Lord Tennyson, produced the RKO screen success. There's a trend these days toward gay romances like My Favorite Wife. And perhaps you've noticed that Hollywood has been making more musicals, too. That has a more far-reaching effect than you might guess. More musicals mean more girls in the cast. More girls mean more stockings for the wardrobe department to look after. And as our wardrobe man was telling me the other day, that means more Lux Flakes used at the studio. For the studio wardrobe department, that's a matter of shrewd business. And, of course, that credits all of you who use Lux Flakes with shrewd business judgment, too. Now I hope you'll all credit us with shrewd casting in My Favorite Wife, starring Rosalind Russell as Ellen Arden, Laurence Olivier as Nick, and Gail Patrick as Bianca. The magic works once more. A nod to our engineer in the control room, a signal to our players, a wave to sound effects, a flash of footlights, and the Lux Radio Theater becomes a courtroom. Our play begins.
Court of General Sessions, Judge Walter Bryson presiding is now in session. Are the parties ready in the matter of Ellen Wagstaff Arden?
What's the matter, clerk? Let's get on.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. The matter of Ellen Wagstaff Arden.
Oh, here, right here. Prison.
That's about time.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the case called, Your Honor. I wonder if you could... Just a moment. Clerk, wasn't I supposed to marry somebody this morning? Why, yes, Your Honor. Well, let's get it over with. This can wait. This is a very complicated case, this Arden matter. Your Honor...
Yes, but Your Honor, the Arden...
Wait a minute. Go ahead, clerk.
Your Honor, this man is Mr. Arden. He says his wife is dead.
Says what?
She's dead.
Who's dead?
Ellen Wagstaff Arden. Drowned.
Oh, that's sad. Very sad. Yeah, if Your Honor, name please. Arden? Yes, Your Honor. I know it. That's what I thought. Well, Mr. Arden, according to this brief, your deceased wife, Ellen Wagstaff Arden, was a member of an anthropological expedition shipwrecked off the coast of Indochina. Yes, Your Honor. What was she doing on an expedition? Mother of 2 infant children. Well, you'll find the circumstances set forth in my brief, sir. Said Ellen Wagstaff Arden was engaged as photographer for a period of 3 months. That's it. You see, we were going to take the trip together, but I became involved in the case, and I couldn't leave, so we talked it over, and finally she decided she'd like to take the trip herself. She needed a change. She had a tough time with the children, teething, and all that. Just the facts. Never mind the teething. Yes, Your Honor. You're a lawyer. Stick to the facts. Yes, Your Honor. They're in my brief, sir. Well, let me read it. Stop interrupting. When did you say the ship went down? Page 7, on September the 3rd, 1932. Page 7 here. I'll find it. Page 7. Last seen entering one of the lifeboats, but what's shining in my eyes here? I beg your pardon? There's something shining in my eyes I can't see. Last seen entering... You over there, that young woman.
You mean me?
What do you think you're doing? Put that confounded mirror away. Do you want to blind me?
I'm very sorry.
Better wash your face instead of painting it. Makes me sick. What are you doing in this court, anyway?
I'm here with Mr.
Yeah,
Arden.
she's here with me, Your Honor. Well, go over there and sit down. Stop using this court as a boudoir. Now, where was I? On page 7, the shipwreck. What efforts did you make to trace the whereabouts of your wife? On page 8, I went to Bangkok and interviewed all the available survivors who agreed that the said Ellen Wagstaff Arden had been swept overboard before aid could reach her. Depositions are pending. Quiet! Yes, Your Honor, but I'd like to explain. There's nothing to explain. Testimony's here, sworn affidavits, no evidence to the contrary. The law is clear. I hereby pronounce Ellen Wagstaff Arden legally dead. Wasn't I supposed to marry somebody? Yes, sir. Us. What do you mean, us? Who's us?
Mr. Arden and myself, Your Honor.
What's that? You going to marry again, Mr. Arden? Yes, Your Honor. Are you quite sure you've had time to think it over?
Your Honor, Mr. Arden is over 21.
Now, Bianca, quietly. All right, hold hands, hold hands.
Oh, Nicky.
Here we go, darling. Hang on. We're gathered here in the presence of these witnesses to join in matrimony. This man and this woman.
Is this where you wanted to go, lady?
Yeah. Thanks for the lift.
That's okay.
Well, what are you crying about, sister?
I can't help it. You see that house?
Yeah?
I live there.
So what? It ain't a bad joint. Swimming pool and everything. Is that something to cry about?
No, but I haven't seen it for 7 years.
Yeah? Well, look, sister, not that it's any of my business, but when a girl dressed up in sailor pants asks for a lift and gets off at a classy
Do you
joint
mind?
like
It's
this...
an awfully long story. Maybe we'll meet again sometime.
Oh, okay. So long, sister.
Goodbye. Thanks again.
You're just scared. Watch me do a swan dive, Chinch. I can do a swan dive better than you can. You cannot either. Whee! Boy, it's like an iceberg in here.
Hello. Hello there.
Hello. Hello. Are you a lady or a man?
Well, I used to be a lady.
Well, then what for are you wearing sailor pants? Are you a sailor?
Well, not exactly.
My mother was practically a sailor. She went down in a shipwreck. We're not supposed to know.
Oh. Do you miss her very much?
Oh, sure.
Would you like to have her back?
Can't have her back. She's drowned. We put flowers on her grave every Easter with Daddy.
You do?
And then Daddy buys us hamburgers and root beer.
Oh. Tell me, is your grandmother in, Timmy?
How'd you know my name?
Oh, I just guessed. Is she in?
I forgot. We're not allowed to talk to strangers.
Maybe you can tell me. Is your grandmother in?
Pardon me. We're not allowed to talk to strangers. Is she going in the house? Yeah. I wonder can Grandma speak to strangers?
Yes, who is it? Come in, please.
Hello, darling.
Ellen, good heavens.
No. Take it easy, Mother.
Ellen.
Here, sit down, darling.
Oh, Ellen.
Take a deep breath. There. Are you all right now?
Oh, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it.
Bless your heart.
After all these years. Oh, is it really you, Ellen?
Of course it is.
Oh.
How's Nicky?
Nicky?
Yes, you know, your son, my husband. He's all right, isn't he?
Oh, yes. Nicky's fine.
Good.
Ellen, where have you been?
On an island, latitude 12, longitude 128. And I'd still be there if a Portuguese freighter hadn't wandered 200 miles off its course. They brought me back.
Oh, darling.
Oh, by the way, how was my funeral?
Lovely. Dr. Blake preached a wonderful sermon.
Oh. I wish I'd been there.
Oh, silly.
Tell me about Nicky. Is he as handsome as ever?
Nicky? Oh, I think so.
Where is he now? I'm dying to see him.
Ellen, there's something I've got to tell you. Nick's married again.
He is? Is she nice?
No.
Do I know her?
No. He met her on the boat when he went to look for you.
On the boat? It's one thing I never thought about. Nick's marrying again. Just how long did he wait?
They only got married this morning.
Today?
And they went off in the car to Yosemite for the honeymoon.
Yosemite? Oh, don't tell me he's taken her to the same hotel that we... Oh, no.
Well, Nick had some business in San Francisco.
Did he? Well, I've got some business in Yosemite. Ma, do planes fly to Yosemite now?
Yes, I think that... What are you going to do?
I don't know, but I think I'm going to be a reception committee. I'm going to get to Yosemite first.
Front, boy. Front. Yes, madam. What can I do for you?
Hello. Is Mr. Arden here? Mr. Nicholas Arden?
No, Mr. Arden hasn't arrived yet.
Oh, thank you.
Are you the bride by any chance?
No, not exactly.
I beg your pardon, madam.
I'll just wait, if you don't mind. Thank you very much.
Not at all, madam. That's very strange.
Right with you, Bianca.
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
My name is Arden.
Oh, yes, Mr. Arden. I believe that a young lady...
Do you have a reservation for me, please?
Yes, sir. Suite A, Mr. Arden.
Oh, Suite A.
It's our best.
Well, I'd rather not have it, if you don't mind. I couldn't take Suite A because I've been here before, you understand?
Yes, sir. Boy, Suite C.
Any trouble, darling?
Oh, certainly not. Sorry to keep you waiting, Bianca. Let's go, shall we?
Going up, sir?
Thanks.
Clerk, when that gentleman comes, will you let me know?
The gentleman is here, madam.
Oh. Well, I won't disturb him yet.
Huh? What?
Going up, sir.
Nicky, what's the matter?
That was... She Oh, no.
Oh, Nicky, what is it?
Imagination, seeing.
Oh, come on, darling. The elevator's waiting. Oh, Nicky, I just love our room. Look at the view.
Yeah, beautiful.
Nicky, darling, aren't you going to kiss me?
Oh, sure. But, Bianca, I've got to go downstairs again.
Oh, what on earth for?
Well, I've got to make sure that, I'll be right back. I was expecting a call, you see.
But they'll ring up here.
Will they?
Is something the matter, Nicky?
No, it's just, you know what I need?
What, dear?
A shave.
What?
Yeah, I'll go down to the barber shop, be right back.
Oh, Nicky, why don't you shave yourself? I'd love to watch you. Remember the way Victoria always watched Albert?
Albert who?
Prince Albert and Queen Victoria, silly.
Oh, well, he didn't hack himself to pieces the way I do. I'll go down to the barber shop and be right back.
Don't be long.
Right back. Ellen.
Hello, Nick.
Ellen. It is you, isn't it?
Yes?
Oh, Ellen. Kiss me.
Oh, that's all I wanted to know, Nick.
Look, let's go somewhere where we can talk, huh?
Where?
Well, let's go to your room.
I haven't got a room.
Oh, well, I'll get you one. Oh, clerk.
Yes, Mr.
I'd like to have another room.
Another room?
Yes, I just said that.
Oh, certainly, sir.
Thank you. Is Suite A available?
Suite A?
Yeah.
Yes, Suite A.
Front. Suite A.
That's all there is to tell you. It's an awkward situation, of course, but you'll have to face it, Nick.
Yeah. You mean telling Bianca? Yeah, I know, but what am I going to say?
Well, that depends on what you feel.
Well, it's not as easy as all that. You see, Bianca's very sensitive. She's high-strung.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah. This is going to be a horrible shock.
Nick, are you in love with her?
No.
You must have told her you were, didn't you?
Well,
Sure you did.
All right, sure I did.
Oh, Nick, how could you? The minute my back was turned.
The minute?
Oh, Nick, look at you. If you could only see your face.
Oh, don't choke, darling. It's too serious. I'll take it as public from you again. Hello?
Mr. Arden, this is the desk clerk. Mr. Arden, we don't like to interfere with the privacy of our guests, but your wife is calling for you again.
Well, tell my wife I'll be right up. I'm still being shaved. You know, I've got a feeling you're enjoying my misery.
Nick, did you think she'd make a good mother? Was that why you were attracted to her?
Yeah, that's it.
You thought she'd be good for Timmy and Chinch?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, of course.
Well, you don't believe me, huh?
I didn't say I don't believe you. I'm just facing facts. You love this woman enough to ask her to be your wife and the mother of my children. That takes a lot of love. You sure you don't love her?
The moment I saw you downstairs, I knew.
Ah, go on. I bet you say that to all your wives.
You know, I could strangle you.
Well, that's the way out.
But I can't just barge in and say, sorry, my mistake, marriage is off. Can I? What am I, a dope?
Look, let's try something like this. I'll be, what's her name again?
Bianca.
Bianca. All right, I'm Bianca. Now, you come in.
Huh?
Come in. You've come to tell me.
Oh, yeah, all right, I'm in.
Yes, well, now say something.
Yeah. Hello, Bianca.
Oh, that's good. That is. Now, she'll say, hello, darling. Really, I'm terribly sorry. You've been such a long time.
She doesn't talk like that.
Oh, well, what's the difference? And then she'll say, darling, aren't you going to kiss me? Well, aren't you?
Ellen.
Oh, Nick.
Darling.
Could I see you a minute, please?
Say, what do you mean by barging in here?
Mr. Arden, I'm the clerk of this hotel.
Yeah, I know who you are.
Mr. Arden, I feel it my duty to inform you that we run a first-class place, and we don't like to be made a party to an intrigue. We've maintained a reputation for respectability for 33 years, and we don't intend to lose it in one night.
It's a very simple situation, mister. Explain it to him, Nick.
All right, I will. Now, I came up here with my wife, my bride, really. My wife, not my bride, my wife. Oh, why should I bore you with all the details?
I won't be bored.
Listen, it's as simple as A, B, C.
Don't tell me you've got somebody in B.
Nick, really, you'd better go.
If you please.
All right, I'll be back, Ellen.
I'm afraid not, Mr. Arden.
Goodbye, Nick. And don't forget, You're going to tell her?
Sure. I'll tell her. This way, Mr. Arden.
Oh, shut up, will you?
Of course, it's none of my business, Ellen. But you've been home here since last night, and the children are beginning to wonder about things.
I know, Ma, I know.
Are you going to tell them who you are?
Of course, as soon as I get the chance. Ma, did you hear anything from Nick?
No, not a word. It's funny.
Not to me, it isn't. Do you suppose he's having trouble telling her?
Well, he's had a night and a day. That ought to be long enough.
That's just it. It's too long.
Listen, that must be Nick now.
Yes, there he is, getting out of the car, but... Oh, Ma.
What is it?
He's brought her with him.
Oh, dear. Don't you suppose he's told her?
I guess he hasn't.
Then perhaps it would be better if you weren't here, Ellen.
Well, I don't see why I should leave.
Well, it's just that it would be a little awkward.
I know. Tell her that I'm an old friend of the family from the South.
Ellen, I don't like this.
Shh, look out.
Well, here we are. Come on.
Nicky, aren't you going to carry me across the threshold? It's good luck.
Oh, yeah, sure. Watch it now.
Hiya, Nicholas, honey.
Huh? What? Oh.
Surprised?
Yeah, sort of.
Oh, Mrs. Arden, do you don't mind if I kiss the bridegroom?
Not at all.
Just one big sisterly kiss.
Hello, Bianca. She's visiting with us. Her mother and I went to school together in Virginia.
How nice.
Oh, Nicky, isn't he the sweetest thing, Mrs. Arden? I used to just adore him. He was the darndest boy I ever did see, but faithless. Just like a bumblebee going from flower to flower.
No.
Oh, I was only fooling, honey. I come from a fooling family. My great-grandfather, Lucius, was the first man to give the governor of North Carolina the hot foot. You all been married before, hadn't you, honey?
Why, no, of course not.
Now, whatever gave me the idea you was a widow?
Not yet.
Well, I'll mix a drink, shall I?
You must be tired, son. You both look tired.
That's what I've been thinking, but not daring to say. Oh, ain't I just terrible? Did you all drive all night long?
Yes, we did.
Oh, now ain't that just awful? No wonder you look tired. Well, just you make yourself comfortable, and we're going to have a nice dinner for you. And after dinner, Tilly and Chintz are going to entertain you.
If you don't mind,
Chintz is going to play her latest piano piece on the piano, and Timmy is going to recite for you. Won't that be just grand?
Yes, delightful.
The village smithy stands. The smith a mighty man is he, with large and sinewy hands, and the muscles on his brawny arms are strong as iron bands. His hair
Nick, my head's splitting. I'm going to bed.
Oh, no, Chick.
I'm afraid I'll have to. Good night. Are you coming, Nick?
Oh, yeah. I'll be up in a little while.
I'll be waiting.
Good night. Sleep well, honey. Guess she must be pretty tired. Hey, kids, quiet. I'm afraid somebody's got a very bad headache, kids. We'll have to quit.
Oh, gee. I was just getting started.
It's time for bed anyway. What do you say?
Okay. Night, Daddy.
Night, Chinch. Bless you. Night, son.
Night. Just when the party's getting good.
Good night, kids.
Night.
Night. Well, I all thought your old performance was mighty good this evening, Sister Ellen.
I thought you'd like that. You've done a good job, Nick. You're a nice kid.
Yeah,
They're really wonderful.
I'm glad you think so.
Timmy's just like you. Obstinate, jealous.
Nick, I'm waiting.
Oh, in a minute. What were you saying?
I was saying Timmy's just like you. Obstinate, jealous, but adorable. I feel sorry for the woman who marries him.
Why?
'Cause he's a heartbreaker, just like you.
Go on. I'm one of the most faithful husbands ever lived.
With a wife in every room.
Nick, I'm waiting.
Oh, all right.
Are you going to tell her?
Sure.
Well, when?
Right now. Of course, it's going to take tact and delicacy. Well,
she's waiting.
Yeah. Well, here I go. Good night, Ellen.
Good night.
You used to kiss me good night.
Did I?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, you Casanova, you.
In just a moment, Mr. DeMille and our stars, Rosalind Russell, Laurence Olivier, and Gail Patrick, will return for Act Two of My Favorite Wife. Right now, I've asked Lou Silvers to play a real old-time American tune. All right, Lou. Yes, years ago, Yankee Doodle went to town. Nowadays,
New Quick Lux has gone to town. Women say it's dandy. East and west and up and down. Millions keep it handy.
yes, New Quick Lux Flakes have gone to town with the women of America. From Boston to New Orleans, from New York to San Francisco, it's the same story. New Quick Lux is America's favorite way of washing nice things by a vote of 2-1. Twice as many women use New Quick Lux for stockings, underthings, sweaters, and nice dresses. Twice as many as use any other flakes, chips, or beads. In answer to a nationwide survey, American women clearly indicate where they stand. For nice things, it's New Quick Lux for them, 2-1. And here's why they choose New Quick Lux Flakes. First, because it's fast. In water as cool as your hand, New Quick Lux dissolves 3 times as fast as any of 10 other leading soaps tested. And that means a lot to a busy woman. Second, because it's pure. There's no harmful alkali in New Quick Lux. It's safe for any color or fabric that's safe in pure water. Women know that they can trust their prettiest washables to these gentle suds. And third, New Quick Lux is thrifty. A little goes so far, makes more suds, ounce for ounce, even in hard water, than any of the other soaps tested. Yes, it's really no wonder that
New Quick Lux has gone to town. Women say it's dandy. East and west and up and down. Millions keep it handy.
ask for New Quick Lux Flakes in the generous big package. It comes in the same familiar box, costs you no more. And now, our producer, Mr. DeMille.
Act Two of My Favorite Wife, starring Laurence Olivier as Nick Arden, Rosalind Russell as Ellen, and Gail Patrick as Bianca. Slowly, and with fear in his heart, Nick climbs the stairs to Bianca's room to inform her that the wife he had declared dead has declared herself very much alive. Slowly, and with a sinking feeling, he opens the door of the room to hear Bianca on the phone talking long distance to her mother.
And then we drove all night. All night, Mother. And when we got home, he didn't even tell the children. Oh, Mother, he just ignores me. What? I don't care what Father did. I'm not going to stand it another minute. I'm going to leave him. Mother, I'll call you back. Nick? Nick, is that you?
Hello. I didn't mean to disturb you. Talking to your mother.
I'm all through now.
Oh. How is your mother? Your mother's quite nice once you get to know her.
Nick, do you love me?
Why, Bianca, you're one of the most attractive girls I know.
I'm your wife.
Bianca, don't cry. Bianca, please. Look, Bianca.
Playing up to that southern snip just as if I weren't there. In the name of heaven, tell me, what's wrong with me?
Oh, Bianca, there's nothing wrong with you. Believe me, under other circumstances, well, who knows? No, Bianca, please, stop crying. Yeah, please, let me explain.
I'm waiting.
Now, let me start from the beginning. Now, once there was a man who met a girl. He'd been living alone for quite some time, but he told the girl he loved her, and in the natural course of events, he married said girl. Now,
What are you trying to say?
just this. Bianca?
What?
Bianca. Listen, did you hear that? Doorbell. Somebody at the door.
You don't have to answer.
Oh, yeah, I do. Somebody's trying to get in. Doorbell, right back. Come in. What do you want, please?
Mr. Arden?
That's right.
Well, I'm Johnson of the American Life and Accident Assurance.
Oh, well, come right in, Mr. Johnson.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm awfully sorry to be intruding at this hour.
Not at all. Sit down, Mr. Johnson. Glad you came.
Well, thank you. This'll only take a minute.
No, sir. Stay a while. Have a cigar, Mr. Johnson.
Just as you say.
Fine. Well, and what can I do for you, Mr. Johnson?
Mr. Arden, have you received any communication from your first wife, Ellen Wagstaff Arden?
Huh?
Oh, of course not. Just as I expected. You see, our district manager, Mr. Pusey, is one of those fuss-budgety types who likes to check everything. Of course, it's customary to check when the company has paid out a large sum of money. But this is ridiculous.
What are you talking about?
Well, he claims to have a report that a woman answering the general description of your first wife was rescued by a Portuguese freighter, as was also a man named Stephen J. Burkett, who was reported drowned at the same time.
Would you mind saying that again?
Oh, now, please don't get angry with
me.
me.
Stephen J. Burkett, he was rescued at the same time as my wife?
Well, according to this unverified rumor, yes. Rescued after 7 years. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
And what else did your Mr. Pusey hear?
Well, not very much, really. It seems he talked to somebody who had talked to a Portuguese captain. He says the woman's name was Eve.
Eve?
It's lucky it wasn't Ellen.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and by a curious coincidence, this Stephen Burkett called himself Adam.
What? Yeah, of course.
Yes. Well, you ought to be very grateful that the woman's name was Eve instead of Ellen, because aside from the money involved, can you imagine the pickle you'd be in?
Yeah, just imagine.
Well, and that settles it. Good night, Mr. Arden.
Good night.
Oh, and thank you again for permitting me.
Not at all.
Who is that? Oh, come in, Nick.
How can you sleep at a time like this?
I wasn't sleeping.
Oh, dreaming about Adam, I suppose.
Adam?
Yeah, Adam. Adam. Why didn't you tell me you weren't alone on that island? Why didn't you tell me this man Burkett was with you?
We didn't arrange it, Nick. We didn't want to be there. Those awful mosquitoes. Oh,
Never mind the mosquitoes. Why didn't you tell me about him?
Because I knew you'd carry on exactly the way you're carrying on now.
That's no excuse.
I wanted to pick the right time to tell you.
There never will be a right time for that.
Really? You know, it just occurs to me that I ought to feel insulted.
Huh?
I go through 7 years of agony. I come home to find my husband in the arms of another woman, married. My children don't know me. But all my husband can think about is, did I carry on with some poor man who wouldn't hurt a fly?
Oh, now, just a moment.
You just a moment. Did you tell her?
Huh?
Huh? Did you tell Bianca?
Well...
No.
Well, I was about to tell her when Mr. Johnson came.
How long does it take to tell a woman my wife's come back? I can say it in 2 seconds. You've had 2 days. Oh, Nick, you don't want to tell her. That's why you're picking on poor Adam. Any excuse will do.
Well, you can't blame me after hearing about Burkett from that man.
You don't trust me. I thought you'd be so proud of me, loving you, thinking of you every day for 7 years.
Well, where is he now?
Who?
You know who I'm talking about, Adam. Where is he?
Oh, Adam, jealous of poor Adam. Gentle, harmless. He lives at his club.
What club? What's the name
How
of it?
should I know? But he's a clean, living, upright, 100% American, and a gentleman.
How old a gentleman?
Why, I never asked him.
Too personal, eh?
Well, he's slightly bald, if that helps. About 5'3".
Scrawny, huh?
Like a chicken.
You noticed that?
Well, after all, darling, Well, is there anything else you want to know?
Yeah. When do I meet him?
When do you tell Bianca? Good night, Nick.
Good night. Adam, eh? Adam.
Nick, stop.
Sorry, Bianca. I'm in a hurry, Bianca.
Where are you going now?
I'm going out to find Adam. What do you mean you never heard of him, Stephen J. Burkett?
Sorry, sir. There is no Mr. Burkett at this club.
Hello. I want to speak to Mr. Stephen J. Burkett.
Sorry, sir, we have no record of that name.
Burkett? No, sir, not here.
I told you once before, sir. No Burkett.
Burkett? Yes, sir. We have a Stephen J. Burkett at the Pacific Club. Yes, he's here now. Yes, sir. Can I help you, sir?
Yeah. Look, I just called up about a Mr. Stephen J. Burkett. I'd like to see him.
Yes, sir. Shall I have him paged?
No, just point him out.
Certainly, sir. Boy, take this gentleman outside of the swimming pool. Point out Mr. Burkett to him.
Oh, yes, sir. This way, sir.
Thanks.
He ought to be around here, sir. He usually has his lunch served at the pool.
Yeah? Well, wait a minute. I think I see him. That little bald fellow over there, huh?
Where? Oh, no, sir. That's not Mr. Burkett. Oh, there he is, up there.
Up where?
Up there on the high dive.
The high dive? You mean that fellow? That big fellow?
Yes, sir. That's Mr. Burkett.
It is, eh?
They tell me he used to be a champion swimmer, sir.
Champion, eh?
Well, he ought to be with those shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah.
There he goes. Gee, nice dive, wasn't it, sir? Well, will there be anything else, sir?
Yeah. I want to reserve a table for lunch tomorrow, a table for two, right next to Mr. Burkett's.
Sherry for madame?
Yes, thank you.
And the martini here?
That's right.
Oh, Nick, what a grand place for lunch. I guess you thought you owed me something after all those awful suspicions.
I'm sorry, Ellen.
I tell you, let's drink to no more suspicions.
No more suspicion.
If married people can't be honest with each other, who can? After all.
Exactly.
What are you staring at, darling? Oh,
What are you staring at, darling?
why, nothing.
I thought maybe you were watching that fellow dive.
Why, what fellow?
That fellow swimming over this way.
Eve! Hey, Eve!
Oh, dear.
Oh, hello, Eve. I thought I saw you down here.
Oh.
Oh, boy, bring in my robe, will you please?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm delighted to see you, Eve.
Oh.
Well, won't you present me?
Well.
My name's Arden. I didn't catch yours.
Burkett's the name. Why, hasn't Eve told you that we were...
Burkett? Did you say Burkett?
I said Burkett.
That's funny. I thought Burkett was bald. Well, Mr. Burkett, why don't you have lunch with us?
Delighted. The inner man is crying for nourishment.
We've ordered turkey a la king. Does turkey appeal to you, or do you confine yourself to raw meat?
Never touch it. I'm strictly a vegetarian. Waiter, bring me a glass of prune juice, a milkshake, and some raw carrots. Yes, sir. Ah, well, Eve, how goes it?
Mr. Burkett, I'd better tell you. My husband hasn't slept since he heard you were on the island with me. He's arranged this meeting to trap us into a confession.
Just a moment.
He's a very clever lawyer, so beware. I'm going to be very foxy myself.
I've got nothing to hide.
I know, but he has. You see, Nick's married again.
No.
Yes.
Why, that's wonderful. Congratulations, old man. Well, that's the best news I've ever had.
Why, what is it to you?
Well, can't you see? It simplifies everything. You see, I'd like to marry you.
Oh, you would you?
I've known your wife for 7 years, and no man could ask for a better companion, a truer friend, or a more charming playmate. I've admired her tremendously, but all she'd talk about was you. Well, now that you're married again, maybe she'll listen to me. Eve, will you marry me?
That's sweet of you,
Just
Adam.
a minute.
Well, I don't see why you should get upset. You're not allowed to have 2 wives, you know.
I know.
What's your answer, Eve? Will you?
Let her alone. What's your hurry? Your carrots aren't here yet.
Let me ask you this. How long were you married to Ellen before the island?
4 years. Why?
Well, I was with her for 7. So I claim her on the basis of seniority. I've got you there.
You've got me. You've got nothing but
If
a lot
you
of...
gentlemen will excuse me, I think maybe you could thrash this thing out better without me. Oh, don't get up. It might surprise you to know that I can get along very well without either of you. I'm perfectly able to take care of myself.
Ellen, look out, the pool! Ellen!
Get a life preserver!
Hold your breath, Ellen, and I'll save you.
But, Dr. Coleman, what do you think it could be? We've been married since last Wednesday, and I've hardly seen him, Doctor.
It's not at all unusual, Mrs. Arden.
Really, Doctor?
Oh, there are hundreds of such cases.
Here he comes now. Nick, where have you been?
Oh, hello. Excuse me, will you? I've got to get some dry clothes.
Why, Nick, your clothes are dry.
Huh? Oh, they're not for me. It's a friend of mine, fell in a swimming pool.
Wait, Nick. This is Dr. Coleman. He's going to help us. It's all right. He knows.
He knows what?
It's not at all unusual, Nick. There are hundreds of such cases.
Oh, well, it's been a pleasure, Doctor, but if you'll just excuse me, I got to get some dry clothes. See you later.
You see, Doctor, he just doesn't make sense. Sometimes I think I'm going mad. Stark, staring mad.
No, not at all unusual. The mood and pose is characteristic of the frustrated individual. If I may make a suggestion...
Yes, Doctor.
You just rest. I'll talk to your husband, quietly, casually.
Oh, please do. I don't care what you do, but please do something.
There, now, don't worry.
He's going out again. Nicky!
So long, I've got to get right back, soaking wet.
Where are you going? And What are all those clothes? Why, they're woman's clothes, Nicky. They're my clothes.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I just told you, a friend of mine.
Now, Mr. Arden, just be calm. Your friend can wait.
Nick, if you'll talk to Dr. Comer just for a few minutes.
What do you want? What do you both want? Can a man come into his own home without being pestered by...
We're only trying to help you, dear. Don't you want to lie down?
No, I don't want to lie down. And I don't need a doctor either. Listen, I might as well tell you right now.
Tell me what, dear?
I'm married.
Of course you are, dear.
No. Look, my wife's not dead. She didn't drown. She fell in a pool. I was getting her some clothes, and there's a fellow, a big fellow. He was on an island with her, and now they're at the Pacific Club, and I've got to go there.
I understand, dear.
No, you don't understand. Now listen carefully. She was at the hotel when we arrived from our honeymoon, and that's why I was so upset, so distant, and oh my goodness, isn't it clear to you? Do I have to draw you a diagram?
You need a long rest, darling, doesn't he, Doctor?
Yes, a long rest.
Listen, what's the matter with you two?
Phillips, the door.
I think you're both crazy. That's what's the trouble.
Mr. Arden here?
I'll explain it once more.
Excuse me. You Mr. Nicholas Arden?
Not now. Now, look, my wife, the mother of my children, Ellen Wagstaff.
Mr. Arden.
What is this? What do you want?
Mr. Arden, I'm from police headquarters. Got a warrant for your arrest.
Arrest? You can't arrest me. What's the charge?
Bigamy.
Huh?
Bigamy?
You mind coming with us, Mr. Arden?
Bigamy. I'm arrested.
Oh, Nick!
Now do you believe me?
And so ends Act Two of My Favorite Wife, starring Laurence Olivier, Rosalind Russell, and Gail Patrick. Before Mr. DeMille brings us Act Three, let's see what the Browning family is up to. Tonight, Midge and Dot are having dinner with their good friend and neighbor, Janie Hammond. They're just finishing now.
That upside-down cake was marvelous, Mrs. Hammond. Do you suppose you could give Mother the recipe so we could have it all the time?
I'm so glad you like it, Midge. Now, you get my recipe file, Janie, so Midge and Dot can copy it off, while you and I do the dishes.
Oh, Mom, do I have to do the dishes even when we have company? Oh, we'll help Mrs. Hammond. Dot and I always do the dishes at home. I'll wash if you like. No, Dot, I want to wash. You see, Mrs. Hammond, Dot and I always take turns washing and drying when we're home because, well, we both think washing's more fun. Imagine anyone thinking it's fun to wash dishes and get red, rough hands.
Oh, but Midge and I use Lux Flakes, so our hands stay nice. See?
Your hands do look lots nicer than mine.
They certainly do, girls. Janie and I have been using our regular wash day soap for dishes, but it is hard on hands. Maybe we better change to Lux Flakes. How about it, Janie?
You know, that's what a great many women are doing nowadays. Changing from wash day soaps to gentle, new, quick Lux for their dishes. And no wonder, because they've been reading about the hundreds of dramatic one-hand tests that have been made. These tests of 5 leading soaps were made under conditions similar to home dishwashing. For 20 minutes, 3 times a day, each woman, and there were hundreds in all, dipped one hand in a dishpan of Lux suds, the other hand in suds from another soap. After weeks of doing this, the Lux hands were still soft, smooth, and attractive. The others were red, rough, and coarse-looking. Why, the difference was amazing. Now, why not make your own dishpan test? If you've been using a harsh soap for dishes, change to gentle, new, quick Lux Flakes tomorrow. It's fast, it's thrifty, and so kind to your hands. We pause now for station identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The curtain rises on the third act of My Favorite Wife. Bigamy. The act of marrying one person when already legally married to another. There's a second definition, too. Bigamy. An excruciating headache for all parties concerned. In a court of law, the parties concerned now seek relief before the same judge who declared Ellen dead.
Well, it's easily understandable. Quiet! If Your Honor pleases, I was only stating...
Quiet! I don't know what you're doing here in the first place, Mr. Arden. Bigamy's a criminal offense.
Yes, I know, Your Honor, but I'm out on bail.
I don't care anything about the bail. This is a civil court. What kind of a lawyer are you? Where did you go to school?
Harvard.
Harvard. Mm-hmm. I'm a Yale man myself. You're the bride?
Yes, Your Honor.
Kissless?
Yes, Your Honor.
Harvard man. I see nothing wrong with my decision, Mr. Arden. You presented your brief. The evidence is all here. Yes, all here, teething, so forth. What do you want me to do, reverse myself?
Your Honor, please, I have a precedent for this case. I cite the case of Mulligan versus Mulligan Benson in the city of Fresno in 1879.
Your Honor, how long do I have to stay here and listen to this
Now,
worm?
just a moment, Bianca.
Go on, Nick. Tell us what happened in the Mulligan versus Mulligan Benson, whatever it was.
Well, Mrs. Mulligan returned after an absence of considerable length to find that Mr. Mulligan, her husband, had remarried. Now, Mrs. Mulligan Benson, or rather Mrs. Benson Mulligan, the second wife...
It was sort of a mulligan stew.
Now, that'll cost you $25.
Oh, Your Honor.
You heard me, $25.
But you can't do that, Your Honor. I'm legally dead. Do you think it's nice to take money off a corpse?
That'll cost you $25 more. That's $50 you owe me. Clerk, you keeping track of this?
Oh, yes.
I'll see that you do.
But she is legally dead, Your Honor. You declared her legally dead in this very courtroom. Your decision is on file.
Clerk, did I do that?
Yes, you did, Your Honor.
I did?
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm going to declare her legally alive. And she can pay me that $50. Will someone swear she's a live woman?
Sure, I will.
You'll swear she's a live woman.
I'll say she is.
You shut up. Your Honor, you can do this. If she's legally alive, I'm guilty of bigamy.
Clerk, can you make anything out of this case?
Your Honor, it's all there in
I know it's there. I know. The brief. What's the matter with you, young man?
Mulligan stew. Boy, that was a good one.
Who are you?
Well, you see, Your Honor,
He was on the island with her, Your Honor. He's not important to this case.
I'll decide what's important to the case. What island?
Well, the island where my wife stayed for 7 years, Your Honor.
They were on an island together for 7 years?
Yes, Your Honor.
Not alone?
Yeah.
Same island?
Yeah.
Is that in the brief?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, that should be in the brief.
Your Honor, please, this is not important to
I
this
would like
case.
to get out of here before I explode.
I want to go home myself. I'd like to tell my wife about this case. She thinks all my cases are dull. Well, it seems to me the only thing I can do is annul the second marriage so you can marry your first wife. I don't know what you're going to do about that other fellow, though.
Well, I haven't had time to think that out, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I just want to tell you...
Now, keep calm.
Well, then, come outside.
If you'd only come to me and told me...
Bianca, I did come to you and tell you.
You didn't say a word about it, you...
Ellen, I wanted to speak to you alone. So your husband hasn't had time to think it over, huh?
Poor Nick.
Sit down, Ellen. Ellen, I'm the kind of a man who finishes what he starts. I'm going back to that island, and I want you to come with me.
Back to the island?
What do you say?
Thanks, Steve, but I haven't waited 7 years just to give up in 3 days.
Oh, I think you're just being loyal. Oh, but I respect you for it.
Steve.
Yeah?
Will you do something for me?
Anything.
I know I shouldn't ask you, but...
What is it?
I've got to get him back. Will you help me?
How?
Come back into the courtroom and just repeat that invitation in front of Nick about going back to the island.
All right. Why not? Come on.
Now, Your Honor, there's just one other thing. I've taken all I can stand from this worm, and I won't take any more.
Bianca, I feel terrible about it. This hurts me more than it does you.
Yes, well, so will this.
Ow! Oh, my nose. It's bleeding.
Order. Quiet, or I'll clear the court. Young lady, I'll have no violence in my courtroom. That action will cost you exactly...
I know, $25, and it was worth it. And as for you, Mr. Nicholas Arden, as far as I'm concerned, you are legally dead.
Order!
Well, Eve, I guess I'm not needed here. See you at the boat at 9 o'clock.
All right, Adam.
What is this?
You see, Your Honor, we're not interested in civilization, if this is civilization. When a man finds his mate, he knows he doesn't have to think it out. And there's an island that can be paradise. Goodbye, Eve. Till tomorrow.
Goodbye, Adam.
Come back here.
And it's all right with me if you bring the kiddies.
Kiddies? Well, in all my experience on the bench, I have never... I'll have to study the brief, then I'll render my decision.
Yes, Your Honor.
Quiet!
I don't care what happens or what your decision is. I'm going to get a divorce.
Quiet! Court's adjourned till 10 o'clock tomorrow. Harvard man.
Ellen, come back here. If you think you can take those kids to a fever-ridden pest hole with that idiot, you're making a big mistake.
Well, what's your offer?
Well, I thought you could go up to the mountain house for a while with the kids until the gossip dies down.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
And what are you going to do?
Well, I thought I might go off on one of those 60-day cruises where I could think this thing out calmly, rationally.
Oh. And when you come back, you might forgive me for not drowning, is that it?
No, it isn't that, Ellen.
Well, I'll think about it, too. Calmly and rationally. Only it won't take me 60 days. I can do it in 6 minutes.
Oh, now, Ellen,
I'll take the children to the mountain house tonight.
I'll drive you there.
No, Nicholas, that's sweet of you. But aren't you afraid of the gossip?
All right, kids.
Come on, Chinch.
Be careful, children. It's dark in the house.
We'll be careful. Well, come on, Dad. Aren't you coming in?
No, Timmy, your father's going to drive right back.
Oh. Are you going on another vacation, Dad?
That's right.
Going to Yosemite again?
No.
You don't have to get sore. I just asked you a question.
Well, thanks very much, Nick.
Oh, that's all right.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. It's going to be pretty dark going down the mountains on those hairpin turns.
Oh, but you're such a good driver.
No, I'm not worried about it. I don't think there's much fog.
There isn't any fog. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, Ellen, I forgot. Look, when are you going to tell the children that you're their mother?
I don't know. It may be a little difficult. I don't know how they'll take it from me.
Well, would it help if I wrote them a letter?
Oh, that would be nice, yes. Enclosed, please find your mother. No, this is my problem. I'll see how I get along with it. And if the right time comes, I'll know it. And if it doesn't, I'll know that too. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Did you hear what they said? Yeah. But, Timmy, if she's our mother, then what's Daddy? Our father. Are you sure? Sure. What else could he be? I don't know. Nobody ever tells me anything.
Well, what are you two little monkeys talking about?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all.
Oh, I love this place. I used to come up here all the time.
With our mother?
Uh-huh. And your daddy. We used to have a lot of fun.
The three of you?
Well, uh-huh.
By the way, was our mother good looking?
Well, most people thought... Well, some people... Oh, I don't know, really.
Well, I just thought I'd ask. You see, we don't know very much about her.
Listen. Suppose your mother didn't drown. Suppose she came back.
You mean like a miracle?
Yes. Suppose she were right here in this... What would you... Look here. You know, don't you?
Sure.
Well?
How do you do, Mother?
How do you do?
How do you do?
Well, don't you think it's about time somebody started kissing somebody?
Okay. Okay, Mother.
Oh, you darlings. You adorable, sweet...
Hello.
Nick.
I had a flat.
Hello, Dad.
I was going along and...
Come on, children, upstairs.
Why?
You've got to mind me now, you know.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Why don't you stay for dinner, Dad? Yeah, then we can all try out Mother's cooking.
Oh, you told them, huh?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's great. You know, I was
What
wondering...
about the spare tires?
Huh? Oh, no air in them.
Do you want to phone the garage?
Can't. The wires are down. You see, there's been a landslide. The road's blocked. Probably won't be able to use the phone till morning. It's fixed.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Ellen. Ellen, I have some good news for you.
What?
There was a call from Judge Bryson's office. They said that Nicky's annulment has been granted and that you've been declared legally alive and you owe him $50.
I see.
So you and Nick are husband and wife again, and you can just pick up where you left off.
Oh, that's fine. Goodbye.
Goodbye, dear.
Who was that?
They just phoned to say the road is open.
Oh. Well, it's no use. I'm out of gas.
You seem to be out of everything but ideas.
May I stay?
Yes, you can stay for dinner.
Oh, thanks. I always sleep well up here.
Let's see. I wonder where. The children have their room, and our room becomes my room. It looks like you draw the attic.
Attic?
It's perfect for thinking things out. Who is it?
Hello. You asleep?
Yes. What do you want? What time is it?
1 o'clock.
Well, what's the matter?
Well, I just wanted to tell you were right about the attic. It's perfect for thinking. No good for sleeping, though. Mattress is lumpy.
Oh. Well, why don't you take that one over there?
That bed over there?
That mattress. Take it upstairs with you.
Oh, thanks. Very nice of you. I'm sorry to have disturbed you. Are you comfortable?
Very.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, look, Ellen, what's the use? You know how I feel. I can go on thinking about it till doomsday. I'm stuck. I don't care what happened. I don't care what people say. I was always mad about you, and I always will be. Does that help any?
Yes. Well. But I still think you'd better go on your cruise.
Well, I'm not going. I'm not going to stay away from you for 60 days.
Oh, now, that's not so long. Let's see. This is the last of October, November, December. Be just about Christmas time.
Christmas time?
Yes, you come back and talk to me about it then. We'll have a lovely Christmas. After all, what's 59 days more?
Well, I think you're being very unreasonable. And furthermore, I won't trouble you any more tonight. Good night.
Oh. Oh, Nick.
Jimmy, wake up, Jimmy. Huh? Wake up, Jimmy. It's Christmas. What do you mean, Christmas? This is October. It's Christmas, I tell you. Santa Claus is here. I just saw him coming down out of the attic. Santa Claus? With a long white beard and red pants and everything. Santa Claus in October? Say, when's Thanksgiving this year?
Oh, Blitzen! Oh, Dancer! Oh, Prancer!
What is it? What is it? What's the matter?
Hello to one and all.
Oh, Nick, you great.
It's here again, that merry time, that happy time.
Oh, Nick, you fool, come over here.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, darling.
The curtain falls on Act 3 of My Favorite Wife. Before Mr. DeMille returns with our stars, Sally has a new version of an old story to tell you. It's called Goldilocks and the Three Pairs of stockings.
Once upon a time, there was a lovely blonde named Goldilocks. She worked in a great big office in the city. There was a very nice man who worked in the same office. And one day he asked Goldilocks to go out to dinner with him. Well, she was very excited. But when she jumped up to put on her hat and coat, pop went a run in her stocking. That made her just boiling mad. Because a girl just can't go out on a date with a new man when she has a run in her stocking. There wasn't anything to do but scamper home quick as a flash and put on another pair. So she did. But my goodness, when she leaned over to fasten her shoe, pop went a run in the second pair of stockings. Now, that was the very last pair of stockings Goldilocks had. I don't know what she would have done, but fortunately, her roommate came home that very minute.
Now what'll I do?
Why, Goldilocks, whatever's the matter?
Oh, it's my stockings. Runs.
No wonder you get runs the way you rub that cake soap on your stockings instead of luxing them. I suppose you want to borrow a pair of mine.
Oh, Angel, if you'll only lend me a pair, I'll...
You what?
I'll always use Lux Flakes, and my stockings will live happily ever after the way yours do.
And that's where the moral of the story comes in. Because new Quick Lux really does cut down on stocking runs. When you lux your stockings, they keep their natural elasticity. So, when you stoop down or run upstairs or put any kind of strain on the delicate threads, they stretch and then spring back into shape without popping into runs so often. Give your stockings this thrifty Lux Flakes care, and you'll find they wear much longer. Now, Mr. DeMille is bringing our stars to the microphone.
We've had a brilliant evening in the Lux Radio Theater, and here are the three stars who made it brilliant. Rosalind Russell, Laurence Olivier, and Gail Patrick.
Thank you, Mr. DeMille. That play gave us quite a workout.
Let's hope the audience had as much fun out of it as we did. Doesn't Larry make a wonderful Santa Claus, Mr. DeMille?
Ideal, Rosalind. A credit to the profession.
Some department store is going to get a hold of him, and we won't find him until after Christmas.
He's a little thin, perhaps, but...
Oh, that's easy to fix. I always use a pillow.
Now, remember that. At any rate, Rosalind and I have solved that no time for comedy puzzle at last.
What puzzle is that?
Well, you see, Larry did the play No Time for Comedy on the stage with Catherine Cornell.
Then Rosalind made the picture with Jimmy Stewart. But tonight...
But tonight, you both found time for comedy, and I'll play My Favorite Wife.
Yes, at last. But what about next Monday night, Mr. DeMille?
Yes, who's going to be here?
Next Monday night, Gail, we go places. With Ginger Rogers, Edward Arnold, John Howard, and Joan Perry. And our play is the popular RKO screen success, Fifth Avenue Girl. It's the story of a typical American girl whose good sense and good sense of humor keep a family from falling apart. There's romance for her and entertainment for us. So I hope you'll all make a date next Monday night with our Fifth Avenue Girl, starring Ginger Rogers, Edward Arnold, John Howard, and Joan Perry.
Anybody who saw the picture won't want to miss it, Mr. DeMille. It's a grand play. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. And 4 stars to the 3 of you. Our sponsors, the makers of Lux Flakes, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday night when the Lux Radio Theater presents Ginger Rogers, Edward Arnold, John Howard, and Joan Perry in Fifth Avenue Girl. This is Cecil B. DeMille saying good night to you from Hollywood.
Heard in tonight's play were Arthur Q. Bryan as Judge, Warren Ash as Burkett, Verna Felton as Ma, Dix Davis as Timmy, Mary Lou Harrington as Chinch, Lou Merrill as Hotel Clerk, Charles Seal as Court Clerk, Hal K. Dawson as Johnson, Ferdinand Munier as Doctor, Bud McAllister as Page Boy, Edwin Max as Truck Driver, and Ralph Sedan as Desk Clerk. The original story and screenplay of My Favorite Wife was written by Samuel and Bella Spivak. Rosalind Russell appeared tonight through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer and will soon be seen in the Columbia picture, This Thing Called Love. Laurence Olivier's forthcoming picture is Lord Nelson and Lady Hamilton, an Alexander Korda production. Gail Patrick will be seen in the MGM picture, Fighting Sons. Our music is directed by Louis Silvers. Our Lux Radio Theater production of My Favorite Wife has come to you with the good wishes of the makers of New Quick Lux Flakes, the tissue-thin soap flakes used by smart housewives everywhere and by the great motion picture studios here in Hollywood to protect the million-dollar wardrobes you see on the screen. This is your announcer, Melville Roig, bidding you good night on behalf of our cast and the Lux Radio Theater. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
We present now the Right Reverend Monsignor Fulton J. Sheen, who delivers the third address in his series generally entitled Light Your Lamps. The title of today's address is The Philosophy of Communism.
Friends, I'm very grateful to the National Council of Catholic Men for making an exception today and allowing me 23 minutes to develop the philosophy of communism and its view of history, ethics, and religion. The communist attitude toward man we will discuss in another broadcast. And even fuller development of today's theme will be sent you free if you request it. I suppose it is safe to say that about 99 and 44 100% of the American people think that communism is just an economic system. It is not. Communism is a complete philosophy of life. What the Germans called a Weltanschauung, a total view of the world, different from all other secular systems, in that it seeks to dominate not only the economic periphery of life, but to control man's inner life as well, his intellect, his will, and his heart. Communism has a theory and a practice. It wishes to be not only a state, but a church judging the consciences of men. It is a doctrine of salvation, and as such claims the whole man, body and soul. In this sense, it is totalitarian. Last Sunday we told you that communism was Western in its origin, and today we will prove it. Communism had its origin in the brain of a German, Karl Marx, who was born of Jewish parents on the 5th of May in the year 1818 in the city of Treves, Germany. At the age of 6, Karl Marx, along with his family, were baptized and became members of one of the Christian sects, not for religious, but for political reasons. His mental development came from 3 countries. He took his philosophy from Germany, his sociology from France, and his economics from England. Our concern is with the first 2. The first stage in the development of his thought began at the age of 19, when he enrolled at the University of Berlin to study law, but in his own language to wrestle with the problems of philosophy. At that particular time, all the German universities were obliged to teach the philosophy of Hegel, who had died in the year 1831. Now, in order to understand the philosophy of communism, I have to bore you with this philosophy of Hegel for just a minute or 2. And bore is the word, for it is very difficult, and Hegel is responsible for a great deal of modern nonsense. Marx began studying Hegel and plunged into his almost unintelligible abstractions and intensified his study of the philosophy of Hegel that was known as dialectical idealism. Idealism, because it was concerned with thought, ideas, mind, spirit. Dialectical, because that was the method by which thoughts or ideas developed, namely by dialectics, or debating, or contradiction. For Hegel, there was no such thing as an unchanging truth. Ideas are fluid, and they are arrived at by a debating or dialectical process in which, like a tennis ball, they are batted back and forth over a net until finally a point is scored. First, there is the affirmation of an idea, then its negation by another idea, and finally a synthesis or a union of the two. Suppose the problem under discussion was the decoration of a room. Here's an example of dialectics. One group says, let us do it in blue. Another group argues, no, green. And then finally, out of the conflict of ideas, there comes a synthesis of opinion, and one settles for red. Now, this I know is an oversimplification of the philosophy of Hegel. And if he heard me state it this way, he would probably turn over in his grave. But remember, it's often the business of philosophers to complicate and obscure the simple things of life. It's a very peculiar world in which we live, that when you are clear, people think you are simple. And when you are very confusing, people think you are learned or even a philosopher. Now, Marx was tremendously impressed with this dialectics of Hegel. In fact, so much so that in the year 1841, Marx presented to the University of Jena a doctoral thesis that was so dialectical in character that the second sentence contradicteth the first, and the third uniteth the first two, and on and on and on. In this crazy piece of writing, Marx wrote, I hate all the gods. Now begins the second stage in the development of Marx's philosophy. The very year that he received his doctorate, 1841, there appeared the most popular attack on religion which had been delivered in Germany up to that time. While other Germans like Strauss and Bauer were trying to destroy Christianity through historical criticism, Ludwig Feuerbach, in his Essence of Christianity, tried to destroy philosophy with materialism. Marx read his book, and he said his enthusiasm was unbounded. Feuerbach had killed the idealism of Hegel, which Marx never liked anyway, and destroyed all religion by showing that it was an illusion projected by the brain of man. And that pleased the irreligious Marx tremendously. Feuerbach did all this by denying that there was such a thing as thought, or idea, or mind, or spirit, and by affirming that the only thing in the world is matter. As Feuerbach put it, man is what he eats. Now that the gods are dethroned, Marx got what he thought was a brilliant idea. Would it not be wonderful, he thought, to take this dialectical method, which Hegel applies to ideas, and apply it to matter, or to history? Marx then patched the dialectics that he took from Hegel to the materialism that he took from Feuerbach, and out of that hodgepodge of dialectical materialism, there came the philosophy of communism. From now on, Marx would say, not ideas, but matter expands by contradiction, which he felt was at the very core of the universe. Hence, there's no need of God to explain matter, because matter is endowed with motion. It develops by shocks, opposition, clashes, struggles, catastrophes. The whole universe, said Marx, is dialectical or contradictory. Can't you see what is coming? Just suppose you change one word, dialectical, into revolutionary. What have you? Matter is revolutionary. So just as soon now as Marx begins to apply his ideas to society, he will say society is revolutionary. Where did he get that idea? Well, just as he stole his first idea from Hegel, stole his second idea from Feuerbach, so now he steals his third from Proudhon, who was a Frenchman. Marx had read and was tremendously impressed with a pamphlet that was written by a French printer, Proudhon, on the subject of property, to which Proudhon was trying to apply the dialectics of Hegel. And one night at the Paris lodgings of a famous Russian revolutionist, Bakunin, Marx met Proudhon and expounded to him dialectical materialism and his application to politics. Proudhon, the Frenchman, said to Marx, Marx, you're a typical German. You're way up in the air with your abstractions. No one is interested in these problems. The big problem today, said Proudhon, is economic, not political. It is social, not Hegelian. And he said to Marx, if you want to keep your dialectics, you had better begin applying it to property. And this Proudhon did by suggesting that perhaps capital was the affirmative side of dialectics, and that in its turn begot its negation, which was labor. Somewhere there ought to be a synthesis in which both would disappear. Marx called this synthesis communism. And where the Frenchman led, the German followed. Inspired by Proudhon, Marx now decided to apply his dialectics to history as he had applied it once before to matter, and he came up with the idea that history is nothing but the story of class struggle or contradiction between those who own property and those who do not own property, or what we today would call capital and labor. If you have a private property system, said Marx, then you get a literature, an art, a philosophy, and a religion to support the iniquitous system. And these things are just like foam, said Marx, upon the bier of private property. Take, for example, the commandment, thou shalt not steal. How did that come into existence? Well, that's the concoction of capitalists. They're the communists. They invented it in order to defend their ill-gotten goods. Doesn't it follow, then, that if you do away with free enterprise and private property, you no longer need morality and religion? How do away with private ownership and production? By violent confiscation of that property under the leadership of communists. Let Marx tell you. I am quoting him here verbatim. This will be done by revolution, in which the working class will use its political supremacy to wrest by degrees all capital from the bourgeoisie, to centralize all instruments of production in the hands of the state. It may be taken for granted that bloody conflicts are coming. Far from opposing so-called excesses and making examples of hated individuals or public buildings to which hateful remembrances are attached by sacrificing them to the popular rage, such examples must not only be tolerated, but their direction must ever be taken in hand. The arming of the workers with rifles and ammunition must be carried out at once, and steps be taken to prevent the rising of the army, which would be directed against the workers. The workers need not be misled by democratic platitudes about freedom. Their battle cry must be revolution in permanence. And that brings us to the communist theory of ethics. It has a negative and a positive side. Negatively, it denies that morality which is based on the eternal law of God and reflected in conscience. Since it is not God, but economics which make morality. As Lenin put it, we deny all morality taken from superhuman or non-class conceptions. We say that this is a deception, a swindle, a befogging of the minds of the workers and peasants in the interests of landlords and capitalists. From a positive side, communism teaches that the end justifies the means. The needs of the revolution determine morality. Hence, whatever fosters the revolutionary overthrow of democracy or the violent dispossession of those who own property is a morally good act. Whatever hinders the revolution, such as a refusal to take orders from a dictator, or a refusal to think the way that you are supposed to think, is a morally bad act. That is the ethics of communism. Democracies do not seem to understand why communism extends a friendly hand to religion one year and then the next year persecutes it. Why it allies itself at one time to democracy and then at another time seeks to overthrow it. Why at one time it sides with the Nazis and then fights against them. This is very easy to understand if you know anything about communism. It happens that these contradictory attitudes were developed as techniques, each one being thought best at the time for furthering world revolution. Is there any limit to chicanery, duplicity, and deviltry? None. Absolutely none. I do not want you to take my word for it. I think perhaps I'd better quote Lenin at this point. He says, it is necessary to use any ruse, cunning, unlawful method, evasion, concealment of the truth. And Stalin has the same idea. Dictatorship means nothing more nor less than the power which directly rests on violence, which is limited not by any laws or restricted by any absolute rules. And from ethics, we pass on to the subject of religion. It is sometimes said that communism is not opposed to religion. Do not believe it. This is untrue. It may happen that communism will give the Orthodox Church a right to worship, provided it becomes an instrument of pan-Slavism for the communication of communism. But this conception and concession is for tactical purposes only and is granted at the cost of freedom of religion. Atheism and communism are as inseparable as a head and a body. Two statements of Marx prove it. Marx argues, man has been divorced from himself in two ways, by religion and by private property. Religion divorces a man from himself by subordinating him to God. Private property divorces a man from himself by subordinating him to an employer. It follows that if man is ever to be restored to himself, both religion and private property must be destroyed. That was why Marx contended that the transformation of society must begin with a criticism of religion. A statement of Marx that is not generally known, but which puts communism's attitude toward religion in a nutshell, is this. Now, this is Marx speaking. Communism begins when atheism begins. Let our educators and our legislators ponder well over that statement. Such is the philosophy of communism. I am not going to offer any criticism, none whatever, because I believe that I am talking to intelligent people who can immediately see all of its fallacies. You can also see that the philosophy of communism or dialectical materialism is nothing but a crazy quilt made up of patches of Hegel and Feuerbach and Proudhon, all sewn together to cover up the nakedness of Marx's own thinking. One might just as well try to make a living organism out of the head of an ox, the body of a canary, and the tail of a dinosaur as to try and make sense out of this intellectual stew. Note that there is not a single Russian idea in this whole philosophy of communism. Not a one. It is bourgeois, Western, materialistic, and capitalistic in its origin. It was a creature of its age and could never have arisen in the 13th or even the 18th century because the influence of Christianity then was too strong in the world. Only when the organism of the Western world began to weaken could the germ infect it. Well, if the intellectual origin of communism is Western, how did it ever get into Russia? The concrete way in which it became effective there in its final form happened during the First World War. Germany was anxious to save herself, and she felt that her cause could be helped if she could win Russia away from the Allies. One way of doing this was to start a revolution in Russia. Accordingly, the German General Staff tossed 31 revolutionists into a boxcar marked extraterritorial, attached it to a train leaving indirectly for Russia. In this boxcar was Vladimir Ulanov, better known to the world as Lenin, who, on arriving in Petrograd, mounted an armored car and began preaching the revolution. There was something fitting about Germany assisting in the birth of communism in Russia. Germany had already given birth to the theory of communism, so now it would give birth to its practice. And Russia, in its turn, paid back its debt to Germany in 1939, when the ignominious treaty between the Nazis and the Communists was signed, which allowed the Nazis for 2 years to overrun Europe, and which proved that there is no radical opposition between Nazism and communism. Do not take my word for it. Take Molotov's, who on that occasion said, "Fascism is only a matter of taste, and our friendship has been sealed in blood." Unfortunately, it turned out to be the blood of Poland. Now we know from captured Nazi documents that in 1940 Russia was actually willing to join with the Nazis to gain the Dardanelles in the Middle East. And in 1943 it was ready again to sign a separate peace with Germany. So now, make up your mind. There are only two philosophies of life from which you can choose. Only two. Philosophy of those who believe in God and those who follow anti-God, and each has its symbol. The symbol of the one is the clenched fist. It stands for hatred and for violence and for destruction. The one gesture that turns the hand of man, which was meant to be an instrument of art, into that which most closely resembles the claw of a beast. And the other symbol, the symbol of the folded hands. They cannot strike, for they were not made for offense. They cannot protect, for they were not made for defense. They can only imprecate, only pray. A carnal decade, 10 Gothic spires, aspiring heavenward for the souls of men. And by and through these folded hands, may the race of Cain be brought beneath the cross, where there is a man unfurled upon it like a wounded eagle. And through our charities and our prayers, may their clenched fists, as it were, open and release their hate. And then when hate has gone out of the world, those hands which were nailed by hate will detach themselves and fold themselves together, not in judgment, but in embrace, that all the world may know how sweet is the love of Christ. God love you.
And now we invite you to join Monsignor Sheen as he offers this prayer.
Sovereign Lord and Master, we fought so long we forgot what we were fighting for. When we left thy light, like tiny gods we quarreled in the twilight of our petty rivalries. Give us in thy tender mercy that peace which we do not deserve. We pray for our President, our Congress, and our courts, that they may sustain and defend religion and morality, without which no nation can long endure. Save us most of all from ourselves. Restore love to our broken homes, the joy of a good conscience to our frustrated lives, the four freedoms to the enslaved peoples of the world, and to our foolishness, give the wisdom of thy ways. Make us new men and light our lamps. In particular, we pray for the people of Russia, that individually and as a nation, they may realize their fondest hopes and know thee freely and openly, O Christ, whom they now love and serve in secret. Not for our worthiness, but for thy mercy. Grant us these petitions, O Christ Jesus, Son of the living God.
The Jack Benny Program. Sold American. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco, so round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw. LSMFT, LSMFT, LSMFT. Why, sure. Yes, sir. You said it. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco, so round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw. It takes fine tobacco to make a fine cigarette. And Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, first, last, and always, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. At markets now open in the South, independent tobacco experts present at the auctions can see the makers of Lucky Strike consistently select the riper, the naturally milder Lucky Strike tobacco. And sworn records show that auctioneers, buyers, and warehousemen, with men who know tobacco best, it's Lucky's 2-to-1. The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, and yours truly, Don Wilson. And now we take you to Jack Benny's house in Beverly Hills. It's Saturday night, and Jack has invited Mary over to spend a pleasant evening.
Gee, Mary, I'm glad you came over to help me straighten out my household expenses. These bills have accumulated all summer while I was away.
Oh, Jack, this is Saturday night, and I want to go dancing. Let's go to the Palladium.
The Palladium? Mary, with all these bills I'm paying. Gee.
But, Jack, it doesn't cost much to go to the Palladium. They charge $1.50 for men and 75 cents for women.
I know. For you, it's cheap. Take of me $1.55 just to go dancing.
$1.55? It's only $1.50.
Mary, only a cheapskate doesn't check his hat. Now, let's get on with these bills.
Okay.
Let's see. $12.85 for vitamin pills.
$12.85 for vitamin pills.
$9.72 for Samson's concentrated iron capsule.
$9.72 for Samson's concentrated iron capsules.
$10.35 for Dr. Berman's bodybuilder.
$10.35 for Dr. Berman's bodybuilder.
$7.96 for Dr. Horton's health tonic.
$7.96 for Dr. Horton's health tonic.
$22.50 for muscles.
Muscles?
Yes. $16.
Imagine buying muscles again. What happened to the ones you bought last year?
Oh, I wore them in the shower and the buckles rusted. I could get some of that pre-war stuff. Now, let's see. Mary, what are you laughing at?
Remember the time you bought those build-up shoes to make you look taller? Oh, boy, did you overdo it.
Overdo it. Those shoes didn't lift me so high.
Then why was your nose always bleeding?
Oh, Mary.
I'll never forget how silly you looked patting Gary Cooper on the head.
Mary, stop being ridiculous. Now, let's get back to the bills. Here, read this stack to me here.
Okay. Homeway Dry Cleaners, $18 for cleaning rug.
$18 for cleaning a rug? How could a rug get that dirty? I was away all summer. There was nobody here but Rochester. I can't understand it.
Jack, here's another bill signed by Rochester's from Scratch, Match, and Patch Interior Decorators.
Interior decorators?
$78 for patching ceiling and repapering living room.
Patching ceiling, repapering living room. I'm going to ask Rochester about this.
You don't have to. Here's a bill that explains it. $7 for 18 bottles of gin.
18 bottles of gin. Let me see who that bill is from. The Central Avenue Personality Shop. I'm going to find out about this. Oh, Rochester!
Yes,
There's something I want to talk to you about.
couldn't you write me a letter?
No, I couldn't, and come right out here.
Okay.
Rochester, take a look at this rug cleaning bill.
Mm-hmm.
Now take a look at this bill for repapering the living room.
Mm-hmm.
And this bill for 18 bottles of gin. Well, say something.
What a soiree!
You don't have to tell me. And that party almost ruined my house. What happened?
Well, boss, it was kind of a dull evening, so I invited a few friends over.
Uh-huh.
And some of them got, well, to use the medical term, coagulated.
Well, that explains the rug and the wallpaper. What happened? What about the ceiling?
Some of them were higher than others.
What?
Man, were they flying.
Rochester, that still doesn't explain the ceiling. How did you get those holes in it?
I told you my friends did that.
Oh, the ones that were flying.
No, the ones that were shooting them down.
Rochester, this is the last straw. I'm going to punish you.
Oh, Jack, put down that hairbrush. He's too old for that.
Okay. Anyway, it always hurts me more than it does him. Now, Rochester, this is a final warning. I don't want your friends holding those kind of parties in my house anymore. My goodness, in their condition, how do they get home?
Oh, it was easy. You know that white line down the middle of the street?
You mean they followed it?
Followed it, boss. They were holding on to it.
I don't doubt it, and I'm going to talk with you later about your... Come in.
Telegram for Mr. Benny.
I'll take it, boy.
Yes, sir.
Thanks. Here's a tip for you.
Mr. Benny, these blue tokens aren't good anymore.
Well, I'm all out of red ones. Goodbye.
Jack, who's the telegram from?
Let me see. Look, Mary's from my sponsor, George W. Hill. It says, Dear Jack, please forget about what happened in my office last week. You have nothing to worry about. You have a 3-year contract, and my lawyers told me I can't get out of it. Unless you breach clause number 3A regarding a singer. Sincerely yours, George W. Hill. See, Mary, isn't that a nice telegram?
But, Jack, he said if you don't get a singer, he'll break your contract.
I'm way ahead of Mary. I've not only got a singer in mind, but I wrote him a letter asking him to come over for an interview tonight.
Oh, you and your singers. Who is it this time?
Well, if you must know, Smarty, it's Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra?
Yeah.
Boss, you mean, won't you tell me when we will meet again?
That's him, Rochester.
Monday, or always.
That's enough, Rochester. That's enough! That's enough! Come on, Mary, let's finish these bills before Sinatra gets...
that makes the world go round.
Rochester.
When at the sight of you, my heart begins to pound and pound and pound.
Rochester, I said that's enough. Come on, Mary, let's finish these bills.
All right, but next Saturday night you got to take me to the Palladium.
The Palladium.
Oh, Jack, don't be so...
Mary, it's a matter of principle. Why should they charge $1.50 for men and only 75 cents for women?
Well, Jack, you got in for 75 cents once.
That was an accident. I just happened to go to the Palladium right from the studio when I was made up as Charlie's aunt.
That's what I mean. You still got that dress here. Why couldn't you
Mary, I'm not dressing up like a girl again. I'll never forget what happened last time. Guy buys you a drink, he thinks he owns you. What I went through...
Jack, it was bad enough being dressed like a girl to get in, but you didn't have to let a fella buy you a drink.
Well, for goodness sake, Mary, I danced with him all evening. I deserve something. What a rotten dancer he was. Say, Mary, I wonder what he'd have thought if he knew who I really was, especially when he tried to put his arm around me.
He tried to put his arm around you. Well, gosh, Jack, why didn't you tell him?
I didn't have the heart to. He was a Marine, and he was going overseas in the morning. Now, let's get back to these bills. Hey, that must be Frank Sinatra. Come in, please.
Hiya, Jackson. Hiya, Mary. Hello, Rod.
Oh, it's you, Phil.
Yeah, Jackson, I dropped in to talk to you about a new singer.
Phil, don't worry about it. I got one lined up.
Yeah, but who've you got? You can't get just anybody. I ain't gonna let you hurt the dignity of my band.
The dignity of your band? Phil, I don't want to disillusion you, but just because your boys were taken off parole doesn't mean they're dignified. And here's another thing about your band that ought to make you ashamed of yourself.
What's that?
Well, when I was in the South Pacific, I saw 15 natives with rings in their noses banging on hollow coconuts with overripe bananas.
Well, what's that got to do with me?
They were singing, "That's What I Like About the Solomon." You and your dignity.
Phil, don't worry about it. Jack has a singer in mind who will lend plenty of dignity to your band.
Like who?
Like Frank Sinatra. Jack's expecting him over tonight.
Now, wait a minute. This is a trick, Jackson. You're just trying to get my band to wear Bobby socks.
Well, I'd be happy if those guys wore any kind of socks. So just take my advice and don't... Come in.
Hello. Remember me? I'm Hyman Peabody, the insurance salesman.
Oh, hello, Herman. Herman, I'm glad to see you, but I'm busy. I wish you'd come over some other time. I'm expecting someone.
Well, okay. But before I go, I'd like to leave this folder with you.
Folder?
Yeah, it tells all about a new life insurance policy we're putting out.
Well, thanks, Herman. I'll read it when I get a chance.
Costs $2 a month, and you only have to pay on it until you die.
I'll read it when I get a chance, Herman.
After you die, you only have to pay 25 cents a month.
That's ridiculous. After you're dead and buried, why pay 25 cents a month?
For that, we keep the weeds out of your daisies.
That's the silliest thing I've ever heard of.
I don't think so. Just because you're dead, you don't have to stop being neat.
All right, Herman. I'll let you know about this policy as soon as...
Should I answer the phone, boss?
That's all right. I'll get it, Rochester. Hello?
Hello, Jack. This is Don Wilson.
Oh, Don, right now.
I just thought of a terrific idea for a contest. Boy, you'll be crazy about it.
Well, look, Don, right now...
Get this, Jack. Why don't you give a prize of $5,000 to anyone who knows the meaning of LSMFT?
Don, are you crazy? Why, if I gave $5,000 to everyone who knows what LSMFT means, I'd have to pay out $800 billion.
Don't do it, boss. It'll leave you with practically nothing.
Now, Don, don't be silly. Everybody knows that LSMFT stands for Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Well, you know it and I know it, but I'm going to phone some people at random and find out if they know it.
Okay, Don, okay. Imagine suggesting I should give away $800 billion. Say, fellas, I'm getting kind of worried about Sinatra. It's time he got here.
Yeah, I'd like to audition the kid.
Phil, believe me, he won't hurt
Hey, Jack, wait a minute. I just thought of something.
What?
Frank Sinatra isn't even in town. He's in New York.
All right, so he'll come. What?
Hey, Jackson, Mary's right. Sinatra is in New York. This is Saturday night, and he's doing the Hit Parade program.
But that's impossible.
His program is on right now. Tune in the radio and see.
Okay, I will.
And in the fourth race at Bay Meadows, the winner was...
That's the wrong station. Maybe this is it, too.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you suffer from upper plate wobble? Do your friends avoid meeting you because your uppers avoid meeting your lowers? If so, try a bottle of sympathy soothing syrup. Remember, folks, sympathy spelled backwards is your Tappamis. Y-H-T-A-P-M-Y-S.
You get your Tappamis, you get your Tappamis, you get your Tappamis, drive your blues away.
So remember, friends, years of research in our own private laboratories has established the fact that when you pass the age of 35, you will be 36.
Mary, don't fool with the dial. I'll get Sinatra. Here, I think I've got it.
And now for his final selection on tonight's Lucky Strike Hit Parade, Frank Sinatra.
Gee, that was wonderful. You know, he'd be great on my show. I'm going to phone New York right now. Maybe I can catch Sinatra before he leaves the studio. Hand me the phone, Mary.
Long distance.
Oh, operator, I want to speak to New York. I'd like to get Frank Sinatra.
So would I, Poopsie.
Look, miss, will you please ring Mr. Sinatra for me, person to person? He's on the Hit Parade in New York.
Just a moment, sir. I'll try the New York circuit. Los Angeles calling New York. Los Angeles calling New York. Hello, Los Angeles. This is New York. How are you, Los Angeles? Fine, thanks. And how are you, New York? Oh, I'm feeling grand. But Brooklyn's got the mumps.
Look, operator, I don't care if San Francisco's got water under the bridge. I want to speak to Frank Sinatra. Now, please hurry.
All right. Keep your shirt on. I haven't talked to New York since he had a baby.
Congratulations. Get me my number.
Just a moment. I'm sorry, sir. The lion is busy. Will you call back when it's clear?
Okay, call back. Goodbye. Well, kids, the line is busy, but I'll get him in a minute.
Say, Mr. Benny, when you talk to Mr. Sinatra, will you let me say hello to him?
All right, Herman, all right, but don't bother me now.
Gee whiz. Well, my wife finds out I talked to Frank Sinatra. Gee whiz.
I'll bet you'd be thrilled, eh, Herman?
No, she'll beat the stuffings out of me. She likes Crosby.
Herman, I wish that you'd... Oh, that must be him now. Quiet, kid. Hello?
How do you do, sir? I'm conducting a survey. Do you know what LSMFT means?
Hey, kid, it's Don Wilson. He called my number by mistake. I want to have some fun with him.
Eh, what was that?
I said I'm conducting a survey. Do you know what LSMFT means?
No, can't say that I do.
Well, LSMFT stands for Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Well, imagine that.
Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed.
Do tell.
So free and easy on the draw.
Well, I'll be darned.
Thank you, sir. And give my regards.
Regards to who?
To marry. Who else, you dope?
How do you like that? He knew it all the time. Say, kids, while we're waiting for Sinatra's call, I'll go in the kitchen, make some lemonade.
Good, I'd like some.
Me too, Jackson.
Would you like some lemonade?
Gotta drive home.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Say, Mary, Jackson must really be excited. This is the first time he ever offered us anything for nothing.
Still, we're not out of the house yet. Anyway, Jack isn't quite as bad as he... I'll answer it. Hello?
I have Mr. Sinatra in New York now.
Oh, well, put him on. I'll talk to him.
And please limit your call to 3 minutes.
Don't worry. If you talk over 3 minutes on Benny's phone, a time bomb goes off.
Okay, here's your party. Go ahead, Mr. Sinatra.
Hello?
Hello, Frankie. This is Mary. Mary Livingston.
Oh, hello, Mary. How are you?
Fine. Gee, Frankie, your voice sounds just as nice over the phone as it does on the radio.
Well, thanks, Mary.
You know, the reason Jack put in this call for you is that he'd like to have you as a singer on his program.
Gee, that would be swell. I'd love to be on Jack's show. Then I'd get to see you a little more often.
Oh, Frankie, it's a good thing I'm not the type of girl that gets excited because if I was, I'd be so excited.
Mary, who in the world are you talking to?
Frank Sinatra.
Sinatra, give me that phone. Hello? Hello, Frank. This is Jack Benny.
Hello, Jack.
Now, Frank, I won't beat around the bush. How would you like to sing on my program?
Well, Jack, it sounds interesting, but, of course, there's the question of money.
Money?
This call ain't gonna last no 3 minutes.
Quiet, Phil. What did you say, Frankie?
I said, Jack, that I'd like to sing on your program, but there's the question of money.
Money? Oh, a minor matter, to be sure. A minor matter.
Yes, I know, but unfortunately, I'm not a minor.
No kidding, Frank. You come on my program and you'll go places. You know, when Dennis Day left me to join the Navy, he was doing okay. Although I will admit he started for a modest salary.
Jack, that salary wasn't modest. It was just ashamed of itself.
Now, Frankie, look. After Dennis was with me for 5 years, he worked himself up to $35 a week. Now, I'm willing to give you the same money to start with that he got the hard way. How is that?
$35 a week?
Frankie, look. All you have to do for that $35 is sing a song that takes 2 minutes, which means you get paid $17.50 a minute or $25,000 a day, which means I'm paying you a weekly salary of $186,000.
I know, Jack. I know all about that. You see, there were lots of times that Dennis told me about you paying him $186,000.
Oh, really? When did Dennis tell you that?
Every time he borrowed lunch money from me.
Well, Frankie, I can't help it if Dennis didn't know how to handle his finances. Well, what do you say, Frank? Is it a deal?
I'm sorry, Jack, but I can't accept that salary. You see, a man gets into the habit of eating 3 meals a day.
What? What did you say, Frankie?
I said I'm in the habit of eating 3 meals a day.
Well, brother, I've seen you, and you... No, I'm not going to say it. Now, Frankie, why don't you say okay and accept the proposition?
Well...
Look, to clinch the deal, I'll send you $5 in advance. And remember, there's plenty more where that comes from. What do you say, kid? Just give me the word and we'll have
I'm sorry, Mr. Benny. Your 3 minutes are up.
What do you mean, 3 minutes? Listen, operator, it's only 2 minutes and 41 seconds. I got my watch right here in my hand.
Well, I've got a watch, too, and it's 3 minutes.
You're wrong. It's 2:41.
It's 3 minutes.
It's 2:41. Oh, darn it. There goes that time bomb. I must have said it a little too early.
Jack will be back in just a minute. But first, here's Mr. F.E. Boone.
At 48, sold American.
In a cigarette, it's the tobacco that counts. And Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. The riper, the naturally milder Lucky Strike tobacco. So the next time you buy cigarettes, remember Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
The famous tobacco auctioneers heard on tonight's program are Mr. F.E. Boone of Lexington, Kentucky.
At 44, sold American.
And Mr. L.A. Speed Riggs of Goldsboro, North Carolina.
43, sold American.
And this is Basil Rysdale speaking for Lucky Strike. LSMFT, LSMFT, LSMFT.
For real deep down smoking enjoyment, smoke Lucky Strike. For Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
Say, Jack, where are we going to do our broadcast from next Sunday?
Next Sunday, well, Mary, we'll be broadcasting from the Army Air Base at Gardner Field.
Well, what are you going to do about a singer? You didn't finish talking to Frank Sinatra.
Oh, I'll get somebody. Gosh, Mary, if I hadn't set that time bomb so early, I might have gotten Sinatra.
Well, there's no use talking about it now, so hang up the receiver.
I would, but there's nothing left to hang it on. Good night, folks.
The Jack Benny program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
This is KFI, Los Angeles.